This is the exclusive home of Dallas Cowboys football. KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth. Let's go, Cowboys.
An Odyssey sports station.
Driven by our D&M Leasing Studios. Thanks for turning it on, leaving it on. 105.3 The Fan.
Welcome in, DFW. Good Sunday morning to everybody out there on this absolutely gorgeous Sunday morning. And I do mean gorgeous Sunday morning. I walked out of the crib this morning and, shout out to all my folks over there in Louisville. I'm not saying it's fall yet, people. I'm not saying it's fall, but let's just say it felt a little fall-ish this morning. I am Fred Davis. That gentleman to my right, getting triaged at the moment. Shout out to our girl Kim, holding it down. You know the lovely Kim from the game with Tim Matthews, holding it down. Why don't you give a little peek behind the curtain? What's going on there right now, Chris Arnold?
Okay, I did not slip my wrist.
Let's clarify that.
I did not slip my wrist, but it happened. What had happened was I was standing up out of a chair that has arms on it, plastic arms. And these
chairs aren't for the faint of heart here at 105 through the Fan either.
The chair's left arm popped. Plastic popped, and it sliced my right wrist. So my right wrist is bleeding profusely. We went to the medical kit downstairs on the first floor.
Yeah.
Shout out to my girl on the first floor desk.
Yes.
And shout out to Kim, because I asked Kim, in your purse, do you have a Band-Aid? Mm-hmm. And I know she's a sports mom.
Yes, she is.
And so she carries her bandages with her Band-Aids. So she has some Band-Aids. There's some other Band-Aids. I've been going through all these napkins and papers because it just won't stop bleeding. Fred, you got some sports tape out of your truck.
Down in the truck. So all right, we have piecemealed this thing together.
If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, you can see this.
And while
I will hold my hand up.
We don't usually get to crosstalk with Kim very often. Let's just peel the curtain back real quick. My girl's got a Louis V bag, number one, okay? Not trying to put her business out there on the streets, but, Louis V bag. All right, so we know she's got style. But let's take it up a notch. Got her name on the Louis V bag. Kim, just walk the listeners through real quick how you got your name.
Fun fact. I actually bought that bag when I went to a fundraiser for the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
Louis Vuitton was hosting an event for the Dallas Cowboys wives, and so I went and purchased my bag as a little shop for a cause event. And I mean, if I'm going to do it, you might as well get your name on it.
If you're going to do it big.
Yeah.
And it was a worthy cause.
Yes,
Absolutely
always.
It was. Absolutely it was.
You're going to spend some money. That's how you do it.
That's exactly right. So, look, Kim, no half-stepping. Okay, Big Daddy Kane's not half-stepping, and Kim is not half-stepping when it comes to the Louis V bag. So, real quick, Kim, while we got you here, give us your prediction. Cowboys season, disarray right now, and I'm being kind of tongue-in-cheek, but maybe I'm not. Your thoughts, real quick. Give us an update. Cowboys 2025.
So it's not a secret. I'm not a Cowboys fan.
Even better then. Even better. So this is unbiased.
I'm super, super neutral. I hurt for Cowboys fans every year because I feel like they put up with way too much nonsense from Jerry Jones. I am prayerful, hopeful that they have a kick butt season.
I love it.
I want them to win every year because it's so good for the city, and I want the fans to be happy. But doggone it, get this situation with Micah resolved and get to business. We already got a new coach we're dealing with. We've got a lot going on. Let's go.
Last thing, who's going to look better this year? The Cowboys offense or your Louis V bag?
My bag.
Keep it real. And thanks, Kim, for taking
Say
care
less,
of my
as the
wrist.
kids say. Say less, as the kids say. Shout out to our girl Kim. Make sure you check her out every Sunday morning on The Game with Tim Matthews. More Kim. Let's put it there. All right, let's get this thing rocking and rolling. We got the three-time. You good to go? Look at you, bandaged up.
Yes.
Shout out to our girl Kim once again. Bandaged up, ready to go. My man's looking good, handling his business, arms intact. Tim and Gavin, there will be a bill in the mail. Okay, there may be. We may have to call the Frankels.
They're going to put that.
We may have to call the
We're gonna
Frankels.
have to put another chair in timeout.
It's all said and done.
That chair is going to join the other chair down the hall.
Seriously, although I want to say that one's been sterilized, so that one may just need to go out to the dumpster. Glad to have you guys on board on a Sunday morning. What a sports weekend it's been. Cowboys put the finale to their preseason on Friday. Of course, you were on yesterday with our boy Jake Rietma, and so normally the gang is at the game on whatever day the game's going on. But you were doing your thing, which you do so well. You were at the Wings game on Friday night.
I was doing a PA for the Wings. But, yeah, everything was in Arlington. You had the Rangers game going on at Globe Life Field. You had the Cowboys game going on at AT&T Stadium. The Wings were hosting Skylar Diggins and the Seattle Storm.
Yeah.
So my buddy Sean Heath and the Wings said, hey, can you handle the PA for us tonight? And I said, yeah, and there was a nice crowd there, too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Wings got blown out, but the Wings are not good this year. Paige Beckers did her thing, though.
She's balling, man. She's balling. Look,
she's going to be the Rookie of the Year.
Look, she's Rookie of the Year.
44 points the night before.
44 points on 80% shooting, which I don't care what kind of basketball you're playing. Those are, especially from a guard.
Yes.
Like, back in the day, big men, that wasn't out of the realm of possibility. But for a guard, forward, whatever, positionless basketball as we like to call it these days, but for her to shoot the way she did, look, and shout out to our boy Blake Elliott, who said when the Wings made that selection, whatever it was, 4 or 5, 6 months ago, and said that Paige Beckers would be better for the WNBA and would be a better basketball player than Caitlin Clark. I said, whoa. Upon further review, now granted, Caitlin's been hurt all year, but I'm telling you right now, Paige Beckers.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's right there.
If you're not that dude, what is she? Is she that gal?
There. Yeah, she's that gal.
She's that gal.
And one other thing about the Dallas Wings, they might have won that game had Arike been healthy. She has she had a knee strain or something,
right.
So she didn't get to play. That's their all-star.
Yeah.
They also play besides Paige. And on one other note, Skylar Diggins used to be a Dallas Wing,
right,
and she is now with the Seattle Storm. Seattle Storm fighting for a final playoff spot.
And let's put it this way, like the Indiana Fever, and look, I'm not going to pretend like I'm Nancy Lieberman by any means when it comes to breaking down the WNBA, but the Indiana Fever were not great last year.
Right.
Retooled, boom, they're a playoff team
exactly.
this year. And that's without Caitlin Clark. And, of course, I think Sophie Cunningham is out for the year, too, with a knee injury.
Yeah, tore their knee up. She fell and somebody left.
But the beauty of the WNBA, and I want to say, and real quick, I want to say like 80% of the league is going to be free agents this upcoming season or something like unheard of with in professional sports. So tell you all that to tell you this. The Dallas Wings can retool their roster
real quick,
like that,
real quick.
And oh, by the way, you've got maybe the best basketball player in the WNBA to build around.
And we'll have a high draft pick.
So
yeah, so they're in a great position. And again, most teams, this is like if Cooper Flag, Paige Beckers is like if Cooper Flag had went to the Washington Wizards or the Utah. You got to work your way up. Here's Paige Beckers working her way up with the Wings. And the Wings got the opportunity to just build that team around her.
All I'm going to say is this. I'm just going to put it out there in the universe and do with it as you will, universe. Sure would be nice because we know the NBA is not afraid to rig a draft or two.
Stop.
Just saying.
Look.
Let's see if the WNBA could tweak a few things. Juju and Paige?
USC. Is she healthy now? She was out.
No, but you figure
that's what I'm trying to look up right now because I was about to say, like, if we get Juju.
You figure I don't care. Look, you're picking her number one.
You got to.
You're picking Juju number one. I don't care if she doesn't play this year. You're picking Juju number one.
Once that knee is all right, she's all right.
You know she's going to be just fine.
It's like when Kyrie's coming back. Same thing.
Exactly. And and unlike Kyrie, she didn't have the injury history.
Correct.
Right? So you tell me right now, if the Dallas Wings get the number one pick again, Juju and Paige on the same team, I'm telling you right now, that change. I mean, and look, the WNBA has already broken an attendance record. That league's already got a incredible trajectory. You put Juju, Paige Beckers, and then on the NBA side, you've got Cooper Flag, Kyrie, and Anthony Davis. You are the epicenter of the basketball world at that point.
Speaking of Mavericks, real quick, happy birthday shout out to PJ Washington. Yesterday, he was standing on business. Happy birthday, PJ. Frisco's on.
Do we know if he's going to get that deal done?
End of the month. We'll find out end of the month, a $90 million extension. I would think they're going to get it done. And the reason why I really don't worry about it, they have a really good relationship with the agent. And PJ loves being here because he was in Charlotte. He has reference. You know what I'm saying? He got family down here, and he knows his role. He loves it down here. Don't get me wrong. If he doesn't do it, that just means he's going to be a total free agent next year. It's like, but Why?
Why would you do that?
And again, he's already getting paid good money. It's not like he's on a rookie deal.
But you said something that caught my attention there, Chris Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
A front office has a good relationship with an agent. What's that like?
Like I said, that's
what's
one of those
that
things,
like?
Yeah,
Huh?
that's one of the things Micah and Jerry.
Do we look at and look, not to start rabble-rousing on a Sunday morning, but you guys know that's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Has this changed the way we look at Nico at all?
What do you mean?
With Jerry and the way he's handled things in the last year, 18 months? And I know you're, and I don't want to put you on the spot like that, but I just wonder if
I think
hindsight being 2020.
I think people have been very emotional about the stunning Luka trade. And if you watch the documentary, you see that was a stunning trade, but that does not compare with Jerry Jones firing Tom Landry, Jerry Jones and the Cowboys winning 2 Super Bowls, and 2 months later he fires Jimmy. I mean, you'll have to have been there to know that. Wait,
no, you're exactly right. And
don't get me wrong, Luka's trade was stunning,
100%, one of the craziest trades in NBA history.
But it was. I was like,
Jerry's like, hold my beer. I've been there, done that.
Thank you. I was like, wait a minute.
Think about right. I mean, real quick, we're going to talk more about the documentary in the 11 o'clock hour. We're glad to have you guys on board on a Sunday morning. And that documentary, and look, I can't wait to talk about it with Chris, and I'm looking forward to talking about it with Chris for a couple of reasons. One, he's been there, done that, and he lived it. I heard you talk a little bit. I heard you talk a little bit about it with Jake yesterday. I thought the talk about the plane and being on the plane story was incredible yesterday. That was and I love hearing that because that's such a behind the curtain view because it seems so foreign in today's media world. Like, wait, you were on the plane with the players, like you were covering
them in the plane because back then people weren't putting on their headphones, looking at their laptop and watching the movie.
You had to talk to people.
People were playing cards,
right?
Yeah, drinking beers,
seriously,
having some food.
I especially enjoyed, and I'll tell you what, I especially enjoyed the Skip Bayless story.
Yeah.
Right? Because it gives you an even further peek behind the curtain about kind of how Skip Bayless is. Because I'm going to tell you right now, and I said this yesterday, and me and Blake talked about this just a little bit, and you can appreciate this as well. By the way, we got our boy Trevor, the creator behind the glass on the 1, 2s, and 3s. What's up to our boy Trevor? When you're doing, so when we're on air, all right. I mean, we're not reporters in the general sense, right? I mean, we will report on things, but let's call it what it is. We're sports radio hosts, so a lot of what we do is with opinion and just insight, whatever that insight may look like. It changes when you go into a locker room.
Yes.
Okay. If I've said something negatively or whatever about a certain player, I'm going to see that player in the locker room. Now,
yes, you will.
It's a little bit different in today's NFL and or NBA. No, obviously, I haven't covered any of the. I mean, I haven't been in the Mavs locker room or the Rangers locker room, so it's a bit different story there. But we're part of the locker room group here at 105.3 The Fan. So we're in the locker room after games for the Cowboys. And so when you get to know these guys, and we're going to hear from them later, and you know this all too well, it definitely does influence the way you think about talking about them, right? Like a Joe Milton, like a Deuce Vaughn.
It gives you more insight.
It gives you because
it's not about where you become more unbiased. You become less unbiased.
Right.
No, what it does is give you more context.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will give you a quick, brief example.
Yeah.
Des Bryant, after one of the games, was very upset, and he left with like 30 seconds left. The Cowboys lost this game.
Okay.
30 seconds left. Usually these guys go out on the field, say hello to the other team.
Right.
But he literally ran off the field. There was a timeout or something. He just ran off the field in the locker room. We go in the locker room, and we're ganging around Des, and somebody said, Des, we're asking a bunch of questions about the game. Then said, Des, why did you leave the game early? He said, I didn't want people to see me cry.
Okay.
But before he said that, all they were talking about, how dare he leave that game?
Right.
Who does he think he is?
Yeah.
And then he said it quietly and emotionally. He said, that game hurt me. I did not want people to see me cry.
And you can respect that.
And again, that gives you the context you wouldn't have gotten if you had not gone in that locker room.
Those questions. That's exactly
if you
right.
do not go, if you're just watching it on TV.
Yeah.
And I say this all the time. If you're just a sports observer, I'm talking about reporters, television commentators, radio talk show hosts, whatever it is, and you never go to a game, you don't have the full context.
Boy,
you
you
just
ain't
are
lying.
seeing what you see on the television.
No, you're not wrong about that. And that's why, and this was a big deal last year. I feel like they've kind of dropped the issue, and I hope it doesn't come back up when they were complaining about, media doesn't need to be in the locker room after games. No, media does need to be in the locker room after games.
They
all
do.
right? They really, really do, because, and this is not a shot at Cowboys PR or anybody other PR, but you're never going to get the full story from the team's PR.
Exactly.
Okay? And nor should
Ever.
you. That's not their job.
That's not their job.
Okay? Look, there's a reason why state-run government TV is state-run government TV for a reason, okay? There's a reason why you have freedom of the press, and not to get all crazy on a side tangent, but again, for every reporter that's going to go out there and do gotcha journalism, all right, there's guys out there, and I like to think I'm one of these people, where you just want to get the story.
Yep.
Okay.
That's correct information.
As our boy Dragnet said, okay, none but the facts.
Yeah.
Okay, just the facts. All right, and that's all we're trying. I know you
I love
appreciate
some
that. I
Dragnet
need to
back in the
appreciate
day.
that. All right. So anyway, glad to have you guys on board. What a Sunday morning it's been. All right, we've got a lot to get to. How about them Rangers? How about those Texas Rangers? Look.
Wee.
I'm going to tell you right now, Chris Arnold, I said on Thursday, me and Blake were on after you lost 3 out of 4 to the Royals. It looked like this boat was taking on water, and it was taking on fast. I said, and again, it's hyperbolic in this day and age to say, must-win game. No, we're in must-win game territory.
Every game
okay?
now. Every game now.
And you're not going to win every game in baseball, but let's put it this way. You're down to, 35 games, something like that crazy?
Yep.
It's nut-cutting time, and it's been nut-cutting time,
Yep.
okay? Like, your margin for error is razor thin. And I told Blake, and we talked about it on Thursday, and shout out to Blake because he did say, and he called it, he said Adolis Garcia would hit a home run on his third at-bat.
Sure did.
What did our boy do last night? Bam! Third at-bat.
2-run homer.
Gonzo. That said, I said on Thursday, you've got to sweep the Guardians. If you're going to have any iota of a chance of bringing this thing back, okay? And every week we've been saying it, Chris. It's getting slim. We still got a chance. That's the beauty of baseball.
Yep.
That's the beauty of
Gotta let
baseball.
it play out.
Guess what? Could that Friday night have been the seminal moment? I don't know. I've said it probably 6 times this year. Could that Friday night, bottom of the ninth, when it looked like that was it, that the microcosm of the season was right there in front of you, and suddenly 2 of the guys that you signed, Jake Berger, Jock Peterson, who, let's call it what it is, have not been great for you, came in spades. Wyatt Langford, the future of this organization, came up in spades. Jack Leiter, the future of this organization.
10 strikeouts last night.
Went ham last
10
night.
to nothing for those who don't know the final score.
Your
10
Rangers
to nothing.
did what they needed to do last night. Who's on the bump tonight? We'll tell you that here in just a little bit, but they got a huge win. You got to keep it up to date.
Woo!
All right, let's talk a little bit more about the rest of this show. Phil Steele, college football juggernaut. He's going to join us at 10 o'clock. That's a recorded interview. I talked to him the other day. Insight on insight on insight. Looking forward to that. We'll have another Cowboys guest that we're efforting for later on in the program. We've got Cowboys to get to. We've got a CA story confidential. We're going to get more into the documentary talk, plus your text messages and more. 877-881-1053, 877-881-1053. Coming up next, though, we're 48 hours away, give or take, from cut down day. Who's on the verge of making this roster and who's on the fringe? We'll discuss that next. Your text messages and more. Don't go anywhere. It's The Fan on a Sunday.
Sean and RJ, the KNC masterpiece, G-Bag.
That you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries.
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Was it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Recurve?
No.
Nutmeg Maidens?
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
Greystone-roofing.com. Greystone-roofing.com. Let's get that roof game day ready.
Greystone Roofing.
We're built for Texas.
Are you?
This segment on 105.3 The Fan is brought to you by the Frankels. If you've been injured in a car or truck wreck, call Frankel first. 214-817-333-3333. With Frankel & Frankel, there's never an out-of-pocket cost, and they only get paid when you win. Frankel & Frankel, the go-to car truck wreck attorneys in Dallas.
All right, glad to have you on board. It is 105.3 The Fan on a Sunday here in the DF Dub. I am Fred. That is the three-time Hall of Famer, Mr. Chris Arnold.
Got you down.
That's our boy Trevor, the creator, in the pimp cut back there
Hey,
on the
Fred.
1, 2s, and 3s.
Can I tell something to the Tolos?
Please do.
Man, we're so glad y'all listening to us on a Sunday. We can't thank y'all enough for letting us ride shotgun with you. As you do whatever you have to do, want to do, need to do on a Sunday. It's a gig economy. There are people working as we speak. You might be delivering some stuff. You might be just driving down the road. You might be actually headed to do something fun. Hang out with the kids. You might be going to a brunch with the wife or your girlfriend. You might actually be going to play some golf. You could be tying up some boats on one of these lakes around here. All we got to say is thank you. 877-881-1053. That's the Frankel & Frankel Injury Attorneys text line. Let us know what you got going on. We'll give you a shout.
Yeah, no, absolutely do that. Shout out to our boy Dave Swavey from Guns N' Hoses as
my
well.
guy. You going to do some of the Guns N' Hoses?
I am going to do the Guns N' Hoses event with my boy Roland.
Nice.
That's going down on September 13th. So go Google Guns N' Hoses. I'll have the website for you guys later on.
It's the police
show
versus the fire department in the boxing ring.
And I'll tell you what, man. And plus, it's the other thing too, though, and you know, it supports. You know, Guns N' Hoses. It's a tremendous organization. You know what they do for fallen firefighters and the families of fallen firefighters and fallen police officers. But they also, you know, the Buddy League was one of the leagues that they charities they give to for, you know, kids that have special needs and what have you. And you know, I was a part of a similar league in Houston. It was called the Dream League. And if you know, if you're ever looking to volunteer or anything like that, it's just. We sometimes take for granted. I mean, when you got healthy kids and what have you, and I've seen it and heard it where parents get wild and what stuff like that. As far as, you know, I mean, let the kids play. But when you've got special needs kids and that's already a challenge in and of its own right. You know, if you can donate, if you can volunteer, something like that. Again, it's just to see a smile on a kid's face.
Exactly.
I'm telling you right now, and for what the parents go through, my hat's off to them. And like I said, the young lady was there last night talking about the Buddy League, and so like I said, I got a special place in my heart for that. And so anyway, on a Sunday morning, just like I said, just on my heart today. So anyway, let's get right down to it. You've got the Dallas Cowboys. We're 48 hours away from cut day.
Tuesday for those who are keeping count.
I don't know. I think the biggest question mark, Chris, that you got going into, you've got a running back room that's still very undecided. I think the two guys that you know for a fact are going to be on this football team on Tuesday. You've got Javonte Williams. I mean, hell, he didn't play any of the preseason at all. But I think
Blue. That's because they're trying to save him. They don't want him to get hurt.
So those two guys, and you, like I said, you were doing your thing at the Wings game, but I'm sure you heard about it yesterday.
Oh yeah.
What
was he doing out there?
Awesome Richards rolls up on Jaden Blue Friday night.
What was he even doing out there at that point? He already scored a touchdown.
He'd already scored a touchdown. You're up 31-13. It's a preseason game. Phil Maffa had hardly played at all on Friday night. So, you know, we were asking in the press box, why on earth, A, is Jaden Blue still out there? He'd already showed you everything you needed to see. And B, why is Phil Maffa not out there?
Correct.
Okay. It made absolutely zero sense. So, really, I think they're only going to carry 3 running backs. All right. We already named the 2 guys that we think are going to make it, and I don't think there's any question those who are going to make it. I think the bottom line is, who's going to be the final running back spot? Is it going to be Phil Maffa? Is it going to be Miles Sanders? I think you go with Phil Maffa. I think it's a no-brainer. He looked good on Friday night. He trucked a couple guys. He did drop a big third down pass. All right, obviously that hurt. But he plays special teams, which is a big deal. And he just gives you a little bit different dynamic than what you get from a Jaden Blue. And that's the one thing Brian Broaddus always talks about is, you know, is there replication in your running back room? Phil Maffa gives you a little something different, okay? He's a little bit bigger dude. He gives, you know, he's a little bit faster, a little bit quicker, Hunter Lipke, but he's a different guy in the backfield. I think it's a no-brainer, especially from a youth standpoint. You know what you're getting with Miles Sanders, man.
Exactly, which is nothing special.
It's
special. Like, why would you even go there? So, yeah, this is going to happen on cut day. Every position coach is going to make a case that he needs to keep one more guy.
Yeah.
Whoever the extra guy he needs, I got to have this. And that's where they got to start chopping some stuff down. And that running back room is way overcrowded. The committee's too large. And one of the things we were talking about was yesterday, I mentioned this, because we were talking about how Deuce Vaughn got like 45 yards in the game. I was like, they are rewarding him with tape. They're giving him tape that he can show to other teams because they love Deuce Vaughn, but there's no role for him on this team. He's been here for a couple of years. He's a feel-good story. He's a great guy. We love Deuce Vaughn.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that he can do at the position of running back unless you feed him the ball 20 times a game.
And that's not happening.
And that's not going to happen in the NFL because he only gets better. K-State proved it. He only gets better
as the game goes on. You're exactly right about that.
That's the formula with him, and that's not going to work for the Cowboys. So they love him, so they gave him all these opportunities to create some tape to take to other teams. He's not going to be on the roster this fall. I don't see that.
I don't see him making
but
the 53. Oh, we did. And we'll talk to him later. And he again, that was one of those situations where you talk to a kid like a Deuce Vaughn, and you can't help but like the kid. You absolutely cannot help but like the kid. I could see him making the practice squad.
He's always done that.
I do see him because is it 3 years that you can be on the practice squad?
I don't know how many years.
All right, we'll check that out and see if you can look that up for me real quick, Trevor. I want to say it's 3 years is the limit on the practice squad. I could see keeping him on the practice squad. He does know the offense. He's been a good soldier the whole time he's been here, and
he's great for the room.
Is he a guy? And the thing I'll give him credit for, and we talked about it, and like I said, we'll hear from him later on the show. He is playing special teams now. Right? Like the one thing you do appreciate about a guy like a Deuce Vaughn was, and he talks about this, is I had to improve or add something different to my game each year, knowing that special teams was going to be something that if I was going to stick around, special teams was going to have to be part of my calling card. Look, if Deuce Vaughn was 5'9", we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Exactly.
In fact, you probably don't even draft Jaden Blue. Right? Because look, as a running back, he might be the best pure running back on the football team.
Agreed.
Okay?
But he's
small.
5'5". Yeah. He's just way too small.
Okay, and unfortunately,
and he's durable, but he's just too small.
He's just small, man.
Maximum of 3 seasons.
Okay, so he does have one more year that he could be on there. And look, you could do a lot worse in a pinch. All right, if you keep him on the practice squad.
Moffett on there?
Well, but here's the thing, though. Then who you putting in his spot? Oh, you're saying if you kept Miles Sanders and put Moffa on the practice squad?
Because I don't trust these guys.
Look, I don't disagree with you on that.
I'm like, cut Miles Sanders and keep moving.
No, I'm with you wholeheartedly on that. Miles Sanders, Miles Sanders, he was hurt in game 1 against the Rams, so you didn't see him there. When you saw him in game 2 against the Ravens,
nothing special.
Well, I mean, we sat there and watched it. I mean, there was nothing about him that jumped off the page, and I don't care what he looked like in training camp.
I'm
so what?
Malik Davis against the Rams looked like he had something. He had only been there for 2 days.
Right now, Malik Davis. But by the way, Malik Davis trucked a dude in the preseason game on Friday night, caused a fumble. All right, on special teams.
Like I said. Like he's making a better case than Miles Sanders.
I wholeheartedly agree with you.
And I don't expect him to be on the roster.
He's not going to make the roster.
But again, they did him a favor by allowing him to have some tape to show off to some other schools.
And he's a good camp body, right?
He's a great guy.
He's a durable camp body.
Which is why they brought him back.
100%. So from a running back perspective, I think you and I are in agreement. I'm going if Fred's running this team, Javonte, Jaden Blue, Phil Moffa, and I'm putting Deuce Vaughn in the practice squad.
We got 214 says, Fred, can somebody please explain what Hunter Lemke has done to be on this roster? He is the quote-unquote traditional fullback. Yeah. So in other words, he's the lead blocker if they're going to do a running play and they're going through the line the whole night. He's just old school traditional, like a Daryl Johnston Moose guy.
That's it.
That's it. And nothing more than. But here's what Shotty said, because we're like, okay, this committee now. What about Lemke? He says, I'm going to utilize him as like an alternate tight end too. He's going to catch the ball. I'm like, oh,
which he can do.
Yeah, I said, okay, we'll just do it. But that's why he's there. I think Shotty's trying to make him a Swiss Army knife.
He's kind of like an H-back, man. I mean,
exactly.
that's exactly what he does, okay? And that's why, and that's a great transition, appreciate that 214, why you're only going to carry 3 tight ends.
Yeah.
Okay, and at least in my estimation, right? Now,
one of them's got his bell rung. Scooney's he don't know who he is right now.
My only issue with the tight ends, all right, clearly Jake Ferguson's a no-brainer. Scooney's a no-brainer. Spanford's been hurt, so but apparently they say he could be ready for week 2. I like Rivaldo Fairweather. I'm telling you right now, from what we saw from him, and I get it, everybody, Princeton fan had a few moments, though.
He got hurt.
But I like Rivaldo Fairweather, and we talked to Broadus yesterday. Fairweather gives me kind of Delaney Walker vibes. Okay, and Delaney Walker, I'm telling you right now, look, Delaney Walker wasn't the biggest dude in the world, wasn't the greatest blocker in the world, but I'm going to tell you right now, when it came to being an athletic tight end that could catch, turn on a dime and move, hey, and all my fantasy nerds out there, hey, Delaney Walker was a bucket for 3 or 4 years back in the day, whether it was in San Francisco or for Tennessee as well. So I think Rivaldo Fairweather, and oh, by the way, factor this in too, and I think this is something they look at. This guy played at Auburn. This is an SEC tight end. Okay, this guy's 6'4", 250 pounds, and has some wiggle. All right, so that said, you put Rivaldo Fairweather, and look, I'm not saying he's going to be your day one starter. All right, but I'm going to tell you right now, you put him in that lineup, you put him in that room, he's the most athletic tight end on that football team. Does he have the size that Span Ford does? No. Does he have the resume that a Jake Ferguson and maybe the upside that a Ferguson does? And of course with Scooney, the jury's still out.
Right. He had the resume from college, and that's why they drafted him too early. Down too early.
I'll put it like this. I think a guy like Fairweather makes a Schoonmaker expendable.
I'm going to throw up.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I understand. I'm over here grinning because there's a guy on this roster. If he's there again, he's got, I'm not going to say measurables because I don't like just the measurables. John Stevens.
Yeah.
Has got the.
He can't stay healthy, though.
I know. He got hurt last year. That's why you didn't see him. And then he got hurt a little bit in training camp. John Stevens, he's got genes. And I'm talking about his family. His dad used to play running back for the Patriots.
Yeah.
His sister is Sloane Stevens, the tennis star.
Right.
And his mom was an Olympic swimmer. And I'm like, this guy's got intangibles. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's going to be a star. I'm just saying if you got to have a third tight end, he's got some stuff.
The problem about my only
issue, I'm just smiling knowing if he gets cut.
I thought he looked good in that first game. Matter of fact, I want to say he caught a couple passes in that Rams game to open up, but we haven't heard from him since.
Exactly.
Right? And the thing about Rivaldo, and it's almost like there's been kind of a revolving door the last few weeks of, okay, who's that third or fourth tight end going to be? Like I said, Stevens had his little cup of coffee against the Rams. Princeton Fant had a nice little catch down the seam in the Baltimore Ravens, but he hurt his shoulder.
Nice catch,
and then, of course, Rivaldo, I think, has been probably just the most consistent as far as just being out there. And like I said, I thought he showed the most on Friday against the Atlanta Falcons. All right, coming up next, we talked a little bit about the offense as far as tight ends, running backs are concerned. We'll touch briefly on the quarterbacks. You guys already know where that's going to go. But how many offensive linemen is this team going to carry? And then, of course, wide receiver spots, obviously a big question. And we'll dabble a little bit. Has James Houston done enough to make this roster? And if so, who's it going to be at the expense of?
Fred. Coach wants to see you. He wants you to bring your tablet.
You already know what that means. Don't go anywhere. It is 105 through the Fan on a Sunday.
Preseason football is under.
Saffron squad?
Nutmeg maidens?
Paprika?
No.
Nutmeg made.
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
Firehouse.com.
Our 2025 Firehouse tour continues this Friday morning, and this time we'll be in Red Oak.
Right off 35, Sean, at 547 North Methodist, and stop on by. We have free breakfast from Whataburger, plus with this heat, pick up a Sean and RJ one-of-a-kind cooling towel while they last.
We'll see you in Red Oak this Friday morning, presented by Whataburger, Fraser Roofs and Gutters, and Firehouse Movers with The Fan.
This segment on 105.3 The Fan is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. If you're in the market to upgrade your Vigo, get to Classic Chevrolet in Grapevine. Back-to-back #1 Chevy dealership in the world. They got more new Chevys than anyone, all priced to sell. Silverado, Tahoe, Blazers, Malibu, Equinox, and more. Visit ClassicChevrolet.com. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Relax and enjoy the difference based on new Chevy registrations 2023 and 2024.
I've got a slight conundrum here. You know, I'm not. I typically buy cheap headphones. Okay, and I had a $5 pair of Walmart headphones that lasted me for about a good 9 months before they finally crapped the bed. I bought these, you know, so I stepped it up and bought a $10 pair from Target. The right ear is gone out. The right ear's gone.
Ruh-roh. Well, the good part, you can go get some more for $10.
Well, therein lies the rub, Chris Arnold. My question for you and for the Tolos: does Fred say, you know what, splurge?
No.
And buy a nice pair, or do I just keep buying these crappy ones and just replace them every 6 months?
Keep buying the crappy ones.
I like where your head's at, Chris.
Because I have.
There's a reason why you and I get along.
I'm trying to tell you something. These headphones.
What do you got on? Some $5 ones?
$10 ones. And before that, I had the $5 ones that lasted 3 years. Don't give up.
That's it.
Hard disagree.
You don't need any Beats by Dre.
You're right 100% on that. I'm not going that route. Now, I am bougie when it comes to my AirPods for the gym.
Got you.
All right.
But you're talking about here in the studio.
But for here in the studio,
we're not listening to music. We're listening to talk.
All I need to hear is your voice, people. I need to hear the soft.
So, Trevor, you disagree?
Trevor, the creator. Okay, what are you saying there?
Listen,
money bags.
I've
got the Shure Studio Classics.
I do have Shores. I do have Shores, but I don't know if I love the in-ears. I think I'd like to get the overheads. But
yeah,
I was buy a $5, $10 pair of sunglasses guy.
Yeah,
and then
sunglasses night and day different, bro.
No, how? This is literally our job.
I
To
understand
be able to
that.
listen and take care of our ears.
Let me tell you something.
Protect them.
Did you know what kind of quality of headphones I had?
No,
Ever.
that's what I'm saying.
Has it stopped from me delivering quality radio day in, day out?
What is it, Goodfellow? Is that the general Target thing?
No, my point is this, and I love that brand, by the way. The difference why you can't compare headphones or earphones or whatever the hell we're calling these versus sunglasses, these don't leave my truck, okay? So when we get done with the show today, I'm going to take these and I'm going to throw them in my console.
Why are you like me?
You know what I'm saying?
But maybe that's why they're going out, because you
No, you know why they're going out? You know why they're going out?
Plastic.
I spilled. You know why? And I'm gonna blame Blake Elliott for this. Okay, because he's not listening.
Let's not take ownership. Huh?
Blake's asleep. Now I'm gonna tell you what happened. Blake, we were walking out of the press box Friday. Okay,
AT&T Stadium,
and you know the spread's elite.
Yeah.
Blake grabs a bunch of chocolates as we're walking out. Okay, and he hands 2 of them to me. I put them in my pocket
with the headphones.
Well, here's what happened. So I had them in my pocket, and then when I got into the truck Friday night, I took my headphones, or I had the headphones already out. I took the chocolate and threw it on my passenger seat. Chocolate melted, got into the headphones.
That's it. That has nothing to do with anything other than the chocolates got it. And again, these are for those. Let me paint this picture for you. For all the totals, we're not talking about headphones that cover your head.
No.
We're talking about it's like an earbud with wires that go.
That's it.
Because if we could do earbuds without the wires in the studio, that's what we would have.
100%.
And let me tell you something else, Trevor, real quick here. The reason I only spend $10 on some headphones is, and Fred has lived this too. We've been in radio long enough where that's the first thing to get stolen.
Boy.
Headphones are the first thing people steal in radio stations. They might take care of the headphones now, but they would always steal the headphones. And so that's why $10 headphones. I ain't getting my headphones stolen.
Final take.
I will give. I respect. Yes. Okay. They're cheap, easy, whatever the case is. But if
cheap and easy.
Those
wink,
sunglasses. Wink. If you buy expensive ones, what do? You wouldn't throw that in your pocket with some chocolate. You would take care of it.
Baloney.
You'd put it in a case.
Baloney.
Like I have here, and you would take care of them. You would bring it inside and put it with your keys because it's
What
important.
happens when you set them down and you walk off and forget them?
Well, when you set them down and walk off, you forget everything, Fred.
Fair point. I did forget my sunglasses yesterday.
I got to say one last thing about the sunglasses, because I cannot drive without sunglasses because it make my head hurt.
Right.
So I'm just squinting. I gave up wearing any kind of expensive sunglasses years and years ago because I would always lose them.
Seriously.
So I always wear like $10 sunglasses.
See, mine was the opposite. I would lose the $5, $10, and I bought some Oakleys, and I had them for 15 years.
You know what? I respect that.
I respect that too. I just don't care about my sunglasses.
I've got a $10 pair of Lokes, and I've got 3 pairs of them, and I love them with all my heart.
I don't even know that brand.
What's that? You ever seen the Tax Collector? It's kind of a cholo brand.
Mm-mm, no.
All right. Well.
Okay, so my son, who goes to TCU, got me a pair of expensive off-white sunglasses that have never left my desk in my office at my house.
Because you don't want to lose them?
I don't want to lose them.
Now, okay, but what about this? Could you leave them in? So I try to leave at least 1 or 2 pairs of sunglasses in my truck at all times.
I always
for
have
that
sunglasses.
exact reason.
Well, like I said, I've got 2 pair of sunglasses, cheap sunglasses in my car right now.
You and ZZ Top. Cheap sunglasses. All right, real quick. All right.
I've been down.
877
Dallas, Texas, all around.
I don't think that's ZZ Top, though.
I ain't asking for much. That is Tush.
That is absolutely ZZ Top.
I'm just looking for
Lord,
some touch.
Tush.
That's ZZ Top?
That's ZZ Top.
What?
How? That right there should tell you.
No, I know that's ZZ Top, but what you're singing,
Yes.
I mean,
Hollywood. I ain't asking for much.
That's ZZ
I
Top?
said, Lord, take me downtown. I'm just looking for some tush. That's ZZ Top.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was looking for some touch. I learned something new today,
Name of the
boys.
song is Tush.
I learned something new today.
And I like
Now,
that
look,
song because it's got Dallas,
young guys
Texas
teaching
in
the
it.
old guys here.
Dallas, Texas, Hollywood. No, I know the song, and I thought he was always saying, I'm just looking for some touch. I didn't know he was looking for some tush.
Tush. Tush.
I also,
That's the name of the song.
Now, see, I am diabolical when it comes to what I think I heard and then going along with it. You guys remember Transformers?
Yes.
Okay.
The movie?
No, well, the song. Do
you think Robots in Disguise was something
Okay. I like where your head's at. Okay. Actually, I'm going to take it a step further. okay? And don't shame me for this.
No, it happens.
Okay, remember you remember the cartoon, all right? Well, maybe you don't, because how old are your kids?
Oh,
your kids are young. Your kids are young.
They're
I
like
watched
20s.
the cartoon.
My kids are like 20, 21.
Okay, so your kids are young. Well, I mean young in the sense of younger. So they weren't. Well, my point is that they weren't watching the Transformers cartoon in the 80s. And you probably weren't watching the Transformers cartoon in the 80s.
I was on the radio.
So, robots in disguise, and they say more than meets the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
I, for the longest time, thought they were saying Morven eats the eye.
Morven?
Who's Morven, and why is he eating the eye?
You know, people do that with songs all the time.
All the time.
Name a song. That's a segment one day. Seriously.
Well, let's
what
just
you
go ahead.
thought
Let's just take it there for a second, because I'm gonna do. I'll do you one better. We got any Cranberries fans in here?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Zombie.
All right. You know the Cranberries, right?
I'm just familiar with their work. I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan of the Cranberries?
You know them if you heard them though. Like you would.
I know. I guess I'm familiar with their work.
Yeah.
They sing that song "Linger."
Do you have to? Do you have to?
So I thought for the longest time.
That's a song too.
I thought for the longest time that she was saying, "I'm searching food for you." Instead, she says, "I'm such a fool with you."
I'm such a fool for you.
I'm such a fool for you. Yeah. I'm such a fool for you. I thought, and I was literally, my girl Laura put me up on this literally probably 3 months ago. So I was 44 years old. And that song's been out since I was a teenager.
It's been a minute. Yeah.
And so for 30 years, I've been saying, I'm searching food for you because it makes sense to me. Okay? The woman's from Ireland. She grew up in a potato famine. Searching food in Ireland doesn't seem that hard to believe, okay?
Agreed.
And so we're singing the song together, and I said, I'm searching food for you. And she's like, what the hell did you just say? I'm searching food for you. Duh. She starts laughing. She goes, no, I'm such a fool for you. Either one works. One works.
Everybody has those. I swear, for years, I thought September by Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah.
I thought they would say, September, whenever it's time, September. And they said, no. It's 24th night of September. I thought it was when it was time.
The 24th night of September.
I didn't know that for years. 24th night. And I'm born in September. That's one of my favorite songs.
Hold Me Closer, Tony Danza.
Well, that's the all-time right there.
I said that one for a long time.
No, the Tiny Dancer one definitely is without question one of the most misunderstood songs of all time. So, yeah, shout out to our boy Elton John.
On the highway.
So, to all my Cranberry fans out there, who knew? And to all my Transformer fans out there, Morven doesn't eat the eye. It's more than meets the eye. Okay, real quick. Yes or no? We'll just rapid fire through this. Will Mozzie Smith be on this roster on Tuesday?
That's the question. I'm going to say I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Okay.
But they've got so many defensive tackles who are equal to him or better.
Oh, absolutely.
If he's still there, it's because, we wasted all that money on this pick. I'm going to say he's not going to be there.
Right. I'm kind of with you on that. I'm so torn because what it comes down to is this. How many D-ends do they keep, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, Marshawn Nealon.
Yep.
Micah Parsons. Yep. Dante Fowler. Yep. Donovan Ezeraku. Yep. That's 5, right? That's 4 right there, okay? Mm-hmm. James Houston.
Mm-hmm. He's going to make that roster.
Okay. Sam Williams.
Yep.
Tyrus Wheat and Peyton Turner. Now, Peyton Turner's gone. All right, Peyton Turner's not going to make this roster. I seriously doubt it. He flashed for a hot second in the first game in in training camp, and then got hurt in that Rams game and just was never the same after that. All right, and that's been his issue for the whole time. I would make the argument right now, and we talked about this yesterday with Brian Broaddus, and I was telling you during the break. I think Tyrus Wheat should be on this team over Sam Williams. Okay,
he's coming up.
I understand.
Sam's coming up that injury. They love him.
I get it. Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying, Tyrus Wheat flashed for me in the 3 games he was in, and Sam Williams, I don't know. And I'm going to go to the Brian Broaddus School of Scouting here. Does he do anything better or different than the other 5 guys on this roster? Is Sam Williams better than James Houston? I'm not sure. Is Sam Williams better than Donovan Ezeraku? I'm not sure.
Well, you know what? Sam could get cut because he lost his sponsor. His sponsor was Dan Quinn.
Right. Well, and that was Mozzie's, right?
Yep.
As well. Now, the difference being that's Will McClay's guy in Mozzie Smith, right?
Correct.
And do they give him the benefit of the doubt, saying, "All right, look, you've had 3 different defensive coordinators, but at the same time, too, the fact that homeboy was playing deep into the third quarter of the 3rd preseason game, and you're a first-round pick."
I'm telling you.
What's that tell you? That tells you, and look, that could be. Look, that could be like you were saying earlier with Deuce.
Tape.
Let's put some tape on this dude. All right, let's let the folks see what we got out there. All right, 1 hour in the books, boys and girls. Coming up next, what the hell's going on in Cleveland? Let's take a trip around the National Football League.
By the light.
Don't go anywhere.
Tolo means turn it on and leave it on. Thank you for making 105.3 The Fan and the Odyssey app part of your day every day.
It's the most thrilling time of the season. The Rangers are in the hunt for a playoff spot. Every game matters, and everyone plays a part to win game day. So bring all you've got to the ballpark August 25th through the 27th, when Mike Trout and the Angels take on the Rangers for 3 crucial games. Let's pack the park and get loud. Get your tickets at Rangers.com. All for Texas.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Brad's day is off to a slow start. So he heads to AutoZone, where batteries are as low as $89.99. Sammy, a local AutoZoner, tests his battery for free. Looks like he just needs a charge. And Sammy does that for free too. In no time at all, Brad is back on the road, ready to finish the day strong. Free battery testing and charging at every store. No hassles, just help. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Save big during Labor Day at Lowe's. Get up to 40% off select major appliances. Plus, buy more to get up to an additional 20% off. Shop even more savings with 3
Are we looking for touch this morning? I'll tell you what we're looking for. We're looking for.
Here comes the word. Turn it up. I've been good. Dallas, Texas. Dallas, Texas. Hollywood. Go ahead, Fred.
You already know the deal.
I ain't asking.
We are not asking for much. We are not asking for much. 877-881-1053. 877-881-1053. That is the Franklin Frankel Injury Attorney text line. What are you looking for on this Sunday morning? Are you looking to see who is going to make this roster for your Dallas Cowboys? We are 40 hours away from cut down day as they trim this roster down from 90 to 53. And then we are literally at that point, 9 days away from this NFL season kicking off for real, when your Dallas Cowboys travel to Philadelphia on September 4th to kick off the 2025 NFL season.
I was just thinking about something.
You know the deal. See, this is what threw me off.
LaGrange threw you off?
Well, like I told you during the break, this doesn't sound like the same guy that just sang that other song.
It is. That's Billy Gibbons.
I mean, I get it, but I'm just saying, like, the vocal variety of our guy, Billy Gibbons, is next level in elite.
They got a lot of nice girls out there.
They do have a lot of nice girls out there, okay? And who doesn't like that? Who doesn't like that? And if that's not one of the greatest riffs and just all around, like, do they call that a bridge? I'm not the most musically inclined guy in the world, but I mean, who doesn't enjoy a little ZZ Top on a Sunday morning, huh?
Especially in Texas.
Is ZZ Top?
That's so Texas.
877-88. Wow, you took the words right out of my mouth, CA. Is there a more Texas band than ZZ Top?
No.
Is there a more Texas band than ZZ Top?
They may be equal to ZZ Top, but they're not more Texas.
Right? I mean, you got Stevie Ray Vaughan, but he's an individual.
I was about to say band-wise.
But I'm talking about band-wise. Absolutely.
Because there's individuals.
Big X the Plug is
he's big on. He's got a new country album.
By the way,
shout out to Dallas' own Big X the Plug.
Yeah,
I heard. Why they mess with him like that?
I don't know.
He had the same thing that Willie Nelson has on him all the time.
Yeah, can we stop with the arresting people for weed? Okay,
it's getting it's out of control.
All right. I'm not saying that, now if my man's carrying kilos of the booger sugar, that's a problem.
We got a lot of people texting in Pantera from Arlington's own.
There you go.
Dallas Stars favorite, man.
But they don't own
it's more.
that's what I'm saying. Like, they're from Texas, but they don't
sound
exactly.
Texas.
They don't own the Texas like what, other than being the Dallas Stars team.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
but
and
Texas,
I'm gonna and look, I know like maybe one or two is Dimebag Darrell? Is that Pantera?
Yeah, he was in Pantera.
Okay,
okay.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
But do they represent Texas as far as in their
ZZ
lyrics?
Top.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. I'm not saying like, and look, we can go down the line. I mean, look, we know there's plenty of bands from Texas, but I'm talking about when you talk about representing, loving up the state of Texas. Is there anybody more Texas than
ZZ Top?
ZZ Top.
214 says Tolo Librarian here. Nope. ZZ Top is the king. Pantera comes second, but their sound doesn't scream Texas like ZZ Top.
There you go. Okay, and then let's see, the Butthole Surfers.
Yeah, they're Dallas.
Shout out!
They don't
sound Texas.
No, I'm gonna tell you right now.
Texas. That's like saying, Erykah Badu is from Texas, but,
Very true, very true.
She doesn't sound Texas.
For all my 90s alternative listeners, though, Butthole Surfers.
Do you know?
I don't mind the sun sometimes, and even when it shows.
Did you know the guy who started the band, his dad was Mr. Peppermint on Channel 8? The kids show?
Look, I learned
Mr.
something
Peppermint's
new
kid.
from CA every time. We got to throw Toadies in the mix,
of course.
As far as Texas bands. That said, let's call it what it is. Toadies had what? The one album, Rubberneck, and then they're still playing Possum Kingdom. Hey, nothing wrong with it. There's one thing about being. I'll say this about Toadies. You can be a one-hit wonder. But there's also something a little special about being a one-album wonder. Mm-hmm. All right? Because that tells me you put out at least 3 or 4 or 5, maybe 6 good songs on an album. Maybe you never put out another album that was worth a damn again, but shout out to the Toadies. They had that Possum Kingdom, Rubberneck was a damn good album, and I don't even know if they put another album after that.
817 says, don't forget about the old 98s either.
The who?
098. And then
weren't they in a movie that was kind of popular in the 90s?
Maybe so. 956 says there's not a lot of bands that represent Texas more than ZZ Top. George Strait individually is Texas. He sang a song about my hometown. But we're talking about the bands.
There's country-wise, we can't there's going to be hundreds.
Yeah, I was going to say we could go down exactly.
Anything that's not Nashville's Texas. Come on.
Texas has its own variation of country music.
That's right.
I mean, it's Texas country. It's literally called Texas country, which I learned about down in Beaumont, Texas. Shout out to all my peeps from the 409 in Big Money, Texas. You know I got a special place in my heart. By the way, for all you high school fans out there, shameless plug, Texas State Networks. We are, by the way, and I know I know my boy CA appreciates this. We are less than 1 week away from Texas high school football getting underway.
Here we go.
Can you believe that?
It's amazing.
I mean, my goodness.
Thank goodness.
Of the top 25, Rivals put out their top 25 high school football programs or high school rankings to start the year. 10 are from the state of Texas. Okay, you got DeSoto representing, you got Duncanville representing. Shout out to North Shore, all my peeps down in Houston. You've got who else is representing on that list this year? Dadgummit, I got the list in front of me. South Lake is representing as well.
What about South Oak Cliff?
I don't remember seeing South Oak Cliff on there. Okay. I don't remember seeing South Oak Cliff on there.
But South Lake for sure.
South Lake for sure.
Got to be Allen, maybe.
Allen was I think 19th or 20th, and then Atascocita down in the Houston area and Summer Creek. So you got I'll tell you what, I think it's like
Denton Geyer.
I don't remember seeing Denton Geyer on there.
There's always some power.
But I mean, look. DFW,
represent
Austin, and Houston, and then and don't sleep on San Antonio. San Antonio's going to come up as well. But I'm telling you right now, the Texas high school football scene is better than anybody anywhere else in the country. I don't care what anybody else says. What was it last year when that Georgia team was like 2-0 or something like that? And I can't remember who went down there. Somebody, I think it might have been Duncanville, went over there, beat the brakes off of them, and came back, and that was the end of that. So anyway, my point in telling you all that is this. Year number 2, myself, Steve Randall from 1080 KRLD, will be doing our mythical high school football show. But it's not a myth this year, Chris Arnold. It is not a myth this year. And I'm doing the halftime show this year as well. What does that mean? Glad you asked. All we'll be doing is interviewing college coaches this year. Okay, so that said, I got my boy Coach Traylor from UTSA. All right, I tell you what that guy's done with that program is phenomenal. And then of course I represented our boys down in Lamar. Coach Pete Rossamondo, head coach over at Lamar. So I will be representing the DFW as well. So if you got a DFW college coach, Coach Rhett Lashley. Now they're big time, all right, but you know how they do over there. So like I said, we'll be working on that throughout the course of the year. So make sure you check it out.
I got to throw something in.
Please do.
Well. It's going to tie in the music.
Please do.
And the high or the different
North Crowley. I appreciate that 956. Or excuse me, 972.
Frisco 972. Frisco Lone Star.
I don't think Frisco Lone Star was on there, but North Crowley is in the top 10 as well.
We're naming all these different schools and different towns and state, and we're also talking about bands that represent the state and all. Okay, so I was thinking about UGK. They're not a rock group.
No, they're not.
And they're not a country group.
Boy, I like what you're doing with that, though.
Pimp C,
R.I.P.
and Bun B. So Bun B told me something back in the day. Remember when Big Pimpin', Jay-Z, Big Pimpin' and UGK?
That is
right. Big Pimpin'. Well, there's a line in the song where Bun B say, it's just the Jig'em and P-A-T.
Yeah.
And they used to add
Pimp C.
Yeah, P-A-T.
Yeah.
I said to Bun B, I said, what does P-A-T stand for?
Yeah, Port Arthur, Texas.
Port Arthur, Texas. That's right. For
Port
those
Arthur,
who did not know.
Absolutely.
And guess who grew up in Port Arthur, Texas? I'm getting ready to give you two people. One of them's a music legend and one of them's a football legend.
Well, I already know one of them.
Who?
Janis Joplin.
Yes!
Janis Joplin.
And guess who she went to high school with?
Oh, Jimmy Johnson.
Thank you. Jimmy Johnson told me this story on a Cowboys charter.
Wow.
This is one of these CA stories. I'm talking to Jimmy, and Jimmy told me when he was in high school at Port Arthur, Texas, he went to high school with Janis Joplin. His nickname, because he had a burr haircut. He didn't have that slick hair. He said his head had a scar on it, and they used to call him Scarhead. when he not Scarface, Scarhead in high school, and Janis Joplin, because she was a hippie, they called her Beatweeds.
Funny story, real quick.
Crazy.
I'm glad you brought up real quick, and we'll get into some football talk here in just a second. But so I was in Beaumont when Pimp C died back in 2007, I think it was. Dies in the hotel room. There was
LA.
some scuttlebutt about what happened, but unfortunately, the bottom line was this: he didn't eat he had a horrible diet and he had sleep apnea. All right, and that's how the story goes. Anything else, they'll leave that for the internet. That said, I spent 3 hours talking to his mother, Mama Wes, when I was doing the reporting for that story. Pimp C and Bun B did not want to do Big Pimpin'.
Really?
They did not want to do that song. All right. They felt like they were being used by, they thought that Jay-Z and Rockefeller were using them to try to get into the South. All right? Because you got to remember, this was back in early 2000s, okay?
Right.
And so the South was coming up, and the South is the South, but it hadn't gotten the mainstream notoriety that we all know and love for today.
Because everybody's thinking West Coast, East Coast,
Absolutely,
LA, and New York.
Exactly, right? And shout out to the Scarfaces of the world, the DOC, who, again, and look, the
That's my guy.
DOC, people forget, the DOC's a Dallas-born guy who made his mark on the West Coast, and a lot of people don't realize he's
Co-wrote all
from
those
Dallas.
songs by Dr.
Did
Dre.
all those songs, okay? So, that being said...
He's a Tolo, too, by the way.
He is a Tolo. Shout out to the Scarfaces of the world who, were doing their thing in the South, what have you. And like I said, Bun B and Pimp C. So they didn't want, when Jay-Z reached out to them to do Big Pimpin', they did not want to do the song. And they thought that Jay-Z was trying to use them. Mama Wes interjects and says, look, Jay-Z was the hottest thing going at that time. Everything that dude touched in the early 2000s turned to gold. They said, look, we don't who cares what he's trying to do? Look what it's going to do for your career.
That's
and what it's going to do for UGK, because they were traveling by bus. Everybody knew them in the South, but nobody knew who they were nationwide unless you were like a true hip-hop head. They do the Big Pimpin' song, and as the story goes, the rest is history.
By the way, got Tolo just texted in and said, shout out UGK for life. Pimp C's my uncle from the 97.2.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Really? Okay, well,
R.I.P.
A lot of people don't realize this either. UGK was a classically trained musician.
Yeah. Which one? Bun B or
I'm sorry, Pimp C. Pimp C was a classically trained musician. In fact, when you listen to Ridin' Dirty, all the instruments and all the background vocals, or a lot of the background vocals, were sung by none other than Mr. Chad Butler. So you have it, your little history on hip-hop this morning.
We
all right.
tied it all up together. Look at how we
Bring
tied
it
this thing
all. Nobody.
together.
Where are you getting that information on a Sunday morning, huh?
Yeah, for real.
Where are you getting that information? Nobody loves Texas quite like 105 the fan. You guys know the deal. All it took was us talking about ZZ Top and me misunderstanding that. From ZZ Top to Pimp C, nobody does it like Chris Arnold and Fred Davis and our boy Trevor, the creator. All right, coming up next, look, college football. By the way, ugly scene yesterday. Oh,
in Ireland.
Man, I'm gonna tell you right now,
That's so crazy.
and we don't know all the specifics of it just yet, but my heart goes out to Avery Johnson, the quarterback of K-State.
Yeah.
Okay, his dad is squabbling after the game's over with his other son.
With
Avery's
his brother.
Okay,
not just squabbling. Fist fight on the ground in a mud puddle.
These two were going at it.
They had to pull people off of each other.
Had people, I mean, grab, and even when they grabbed, they still were going at it afterwards. Look, you've got a son. I've got a son. In no way, shape, or form, I don't care how mad you get at your kid, you do not fist fight with your children.
No, especially at a football game out there in the concourse.
That's awful.
That's
in the
crazy.
parking lot.
In the parking lot.
Put the Guinness down. Put the Guinness down. And Avery Johnson, by the way, played his ass off yesterday.
Sure did.
All right. My man threw for over 270 yards. I think he was like 21 and 32, 270 yards.
Yeah.
Threw for 2 touchdowns, ran for another. All right. Still took the L, though.
Yeah.
Still took the L. You know who didn't in the state of Kansas yesterday? Rock Chalk Jayhawk. Tell y'all that to tell you this. Tell y'all that to tell you this. You know who the number one football program in the state of Kansas is. Coming up next, Phil Steele. Stop by to talk to us. Let's talk some college football with the man, the myth, the legend, Phil Steele, coming up next.
The more time you give, the more...
beauty products. I got to remember that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before.
Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel.
Oh, is that your name?
No, I mean, like, your name.
No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean, like, this is your haircut.
But that's hair on your head.
I'm not saying this is your hair.
Okay, freaking out.
AutoLeasing.com. D&M, the name you trust in any market.
We make leasing easy at B&M.
This segment on 105 Through the Fan is brought to you by the Frankels. If you've been injured in a car or truck wreck, call Frankel first. 214-817-333-3333. With Frankel and Frankel, there's never an out-of-pocket cost, and they only get paid when you win. Frankel and Frankel, go-to car truck wreck attorneys in Dallas.
Great read, as always, from the one, the only, Mr. Trevor, the Creator. We also forgot Post Malone as
we can't
somebody who represents Texas. No, you certainly can't. We may disagree on the direction of his music. I will forever, Post Malone will always be the Stoney album. Will forever be one of my all-time favorites. Love that album. I appreciate the fact that he's gone into country.
He's one of the most genuine people you will ever meet.
That is one thing you can say about that dude. Every time I've ever seen a clip of him or him talking, whatever, he definitely seems like that. What you see is what you get with a guy like Post Malone.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Shout out to our boy, Post Malone. Oh, what's his real name? Austin?
Austin. His name is Austin Post. His dad, I told you about the story. I brought him up here in the studio, and I've been knowing him since he was
Is his dad
in high
still with the
school.
Cowboys?
No, he retired.
Okay.
He retired, but he was over there, food services with the Cowboys and everything, yeah.
Tell you what, still elite.
Yep.
Still elite. That press box spread. Shout out to the macaroni and cheese. All right.
And his boss, George. George is the one that sets the spread.
Well, I'm telling
George
you, that stuff
Wyside.
is
He's a
elite.
Tolo, too.
Shout out to my girl, Christina, who fixed the coffee machine for me on Friday night. Okay, let's talk a little college
his dad's
football.
name is, by the way, is Rich Post, for those. Post.
Richie Post. All right, so I don't normally do recorded interviews very often. You guys know me. I'm a fly by the seat of my pants. Let's do it in the moment type of guy.
Not you.
That said, I know, right? That said, though, I will make concessions from time to time. And when Phil Steele, who you know,
man,
he's one of the GOATs when it comes to college football, okay?
He puts out that book every year like clockwork. It's a Bible.
I tell you what, there's a reason why CA and I do radio together. Finishing each other's sentences. We're like an old married couple. Finishing each other's sentences. That's exactly what Phil Steele is. It's the college football Bible. This guy, I'll let you guys tell it, or I'll let you listen to it because I asked him the question because you know me, I ask questions like that. But he doesn't do interviews after 2 o'clock.
Right.
Phil doesn't. All right. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Fan After Dark's at night. So there was no way we were going to be able to get him at night. That said, recorded an interview with him on Friday. I said, you know what? This is good Sunday morning listening. This is peak Sunday morning listening. So without further ado, your boy Freddie D sitting down with Mr. Phil Steele.
Number one, you've been doing this. This is what, year 37 for you?
31st year for the magazine this year.
Okay. 31 years. So real quick, and being a former newspaper guy, I mean, look, you're a Cleveland guy. You've been doing this for 31 years. How has this evolved as far as just, where this thing started and where you got the idea to do it? And did you ever imagine that it would become what it's become now?
That's a great question, Fred. Back in 1993, I'll say, I was writing a football newsletter, and I would buy all the preseason magazines that were on the newsstand at that time. At that time, there was probably like 30 of them, right? And so what I do is gather all the magazines, put them on my desk, and read through every single one on every single team, and write down all my notes in my notebook. And when I got done reading all 30 magazines, sometimes I couldn't even fill out a one deep on some teams, a starting lineup. They just didn't have enough information information for me. So I started compiling the information myself, getting the rosters from the schools, keeping track of all the stats for every single player, putting in all my personal thoughts on each player, and compiling pages like that. And somebody came to my office, I think it was 1994, and said, why don't you turn that into a magazine? So we tried that the first year back in 1995. And I didn't even cover all the teams back then. I only covered 88 of the FBS teams. And we put out 2 full pages on each team. It was black and white on newsprint. And you asked, did I think it would get to where it is today? No idea. No, I had no idea it would get this big. But once somebody got their hands on the amount of information, which was 2 to 3 times the amount of information anybody else, they had to have the copy each and every year. We finally went full color. I think it was about 6 years later, and now we're up to 360 pages. We have 2 full pages on all 136 teams, and we give you the same amount of coverage on a team like Texas State or Delaware that we do on Alabama and Ohio State. 2 full pages. I talked to 126 of the 135 head coaches this year. Spent about an hour with each one going over their team, and it really is a labor of love and something I've enjoyed through all 31 years.
So now that you, and with doing this over the last 31 years, and I read the article that Pat Forty did on you, a handful of years ago, whatever it was, and it's like you were doing this all by yourself. When did it become too cumbersome to do just by yourself, and with the amount of information that you were getting and all that good stuff? Like, when did you say, okay, I'm going to need some help doing this thing moving forward?
Oh no! The good news is I have always had a staff, but I do write each of the. I do write each of the teams myself. So, there's a lot of preparation that goes into it as far as getting the team pages ready, the graphics on the page, things like that. I've got a staff for that, but I do write each of the 136 team previews myself. There was a time, I think 5-6 years ago, where I started only writing maybe 80 of them, letting some other folks write them, but I'm back to writing each and every one by myself.
So let's get into it. Look, obviously here in Dallas, we're goo goo gaga over UT, Texas A&M, SMU, and obviously the job that Rhett Lashley's done. But let's get into UT first. How impressed are you with the job that Steve Sarkisian's done, and knowing, and again, the fact that you've covered this team for the last 31 years, but knowing what's gone on in the last decade, what has Sarkisian done differently than the other guys since Mac Brown?
Well, I think the main thing he's done is the recruiting aspect of it and the line of scrimmage aspect of it. I think when you look at Texas, maybe 6-7 years ago, there wasn't the quality in the offensive line and defensive line that they have nowadays, and that's really been bumped up enough where they could make the transition into the SEC and have great success like that. But the overall talent on the team, and look no further than this year's defense. You start with Anthony Hill at linebacker, one of the top defensive players in the country. Malik Muhammad at corner, adding a guy like Trey Moore coming in from UTSA. 2 years ago, he had 14 sacks at CUSA. And then, of course, Colin Simmons, who really flashed as a true freshman last year. I rate him the #1 defense in the country. Offensively, probably my biggest question mark is the inexperience on the offensive line. I like the talents that Sarkisian's got there, but they do only have one starter back. They've got some guy, I don't know if you've heard of him or not, Arch Manning. He's going to be the quarterback this year.
The name does ring a bell.
Getting a lot of hype throughout the country. I think to live up to the hype, he'd have to probably have like 60 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Seriously. That's not going to happen, but I do think he will be one of the better quarterbacks in the country. And, when I look at Texas this year, I see a team that might be a little bit like Ohio State last year in this setting. They play at Ohio State, at Florida in the Swamp, at Georgia, and they also play Oklahoma and Dallas. That's a pretty tough road schedule. However, you can drop a game or two and still make the playoff. And once this team makes the playoff, that offensive line will be a veteran group. Arch Manning will have 12 games under his belt, including 2 big-time road starts. Then I think Texas is a legitimate threat to win it all and a possible national championship.
Shifting over to Texas A&M, I mean, look, one thing about when Jimbo was there, he never had an issue getting top flight talent, right? I mean, it seemed like, you got the best out of the state of Texas was going to A&M each and every year, but it felt like he could just never get the entire thing put together top to bottom, and quarterback was an issue. You got Marcel Reed now. Kind of your thoughts on where, what difference Mike Elko's done, and kind of, what kind of a threat can Texas A&M be this year?
Yeah, the talent is definitely there. And, Elko's going to call the plays on defense. Remember the last time he called the plays on defense for Texas A&M was 2021 when they allowed 15.9 points per game. And the thing about Mike Elko, he's been a head coach for 3 years now. And in all 3 years, he's surpassed my expectations. Look at last year. They climbed all the way to number 10 in the country. I believe they were 7-1. And at the end of the year, they're playing Texas for a berth in the SEC title game. I don't think anybody thought Elko would get there in his first year. And the one thing that I really took out of the conversation with Coach Elko this year was that last year when I talked to him, I asked him about the offensive line, and after going through all the players, he said, Phil, we're probably middle of the pack in the SEC. This year, when we finished up going through the offensive line, he said, Phil, we are really talented. We're top tier in the SEC, and we have a chance for the Joe Moore Award. And so with an upgrade like that on the offensive line, 3 running backs like Le'Veon Moss, Reuben Owens, and Amari Daniels in the backfield, Marcel Reed at quarterback. This is a very dangerous Texas A&M team. In fact, they're my number 2 surprise team in the country this year. You take an Elko defense, you take that offense, I think they've got a great shot at even making the playoff. Now, they do have 3 really tough road games at Notre Dame, at LSU, at Texas. They'll be an underdog in all 3. Pull one upset, and all of a sudden A&M is potentially in the playoffs this year.
Phil Steele joining us here talking all things college football. Let's shift over to our hometown team here at SMU. Got a little taste of the playoffs last year. Controversial for some, but let's call it what it was. I mean, outside of the game against Clemson, this was a team that looked good all year long. Your thoughts on Kevin Jennings and just kind of the job that Rhett Lashley's done, and what's going to need to happen if this SMU team is going to continue to ascend in the ACC in college football?
Yeah, and I think SMU has a great shot at getting back to the ACC title game and get back to the playoff again this year. One of the big question marks has to be probably losing 5 interior defensive linemen like they did, but they brought in a lot of bodies, and we'll see how quickly these transfer portal guys get acclimated. But they've got some players on defense still offensively. Kevin Jennings threw a couple of costly interceptions against Penn State, but other than that, he had a tremendous year. And I think Kevin Jennings just going to have an even better year, especially going to the fact that, last year in August, this guy wasn't even the starting quarterback. It was Preston Stone. He was splitting the snaps. Now he is the full-time starter. I like that. I like the fact he gets R.J. Maryland back at tight end. Maryland's a big-time weapon. They've got Jordan Hudson, the guy who's an NFL talent. He's got 1,000-yard capability of wide receiver, as well as Romello Brinson. So I think the receiver spot's good. Offensive line, I think they got 3 NFL-caliber guys in Addison Nichols, Logan Parr, and PJ Williams. So a very talented offense as well. When I look at the schedule, the non-conference slate is tricky. Baylor and TCU were 2 really tough matchups in the non-conference play. However, in conference play, while they draw Clemson, to me, the key game of SMU season this year is November 1st. They host Miami of Florida. I think if they beat Miami of Florida in that game, they're in the ACC title game, got a great shot at the playoff, and I've got them a slight favorite in that game. So I actually think SMU's got a tremendous shot at repeating last year's success, getting back to the ACC title game and get it back to the playoff this year.
Let's go a few hours north up to Norman and an OU team that it just feels like since Lincoln Riley's left, Brent Venables, it just seems like this OU team's just kind of in a weird place right now, right? Where they're a better defensive team, but yet it just feels like offensively they just can't seem to get it right. They get the kid from Washington State this year. Is this a do or die season for Brent Venables at OU?
Do or die in the fact that if they have a losing season, he's probably gone. Yes, but I think Coach Venables is going to surprise a lot of folks this year.
Really?
In fact, you touched on the defense. Last year they held opponents to 87 yards per game, below their season average, which is number 6 in the country. They've got R. Mason Thomas back at defensive end. They got Kendall Daniels back at the cheetah spot, a loaded secondary. They've got one of the top defenses in the country with 8 starters back. You hit it on the head, Fred. Their problem last year was offense, but let's look at that a little bit closer. They had 0 returning starters on the offensive line last year, so you would expect the offensive line to struggle, and they did. Then the receiving corps got all banged up, and I'm going to bring up Clemson for a minute. 2 years ago, Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik was considered average, disappointing. He had 19 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. And the reason for that is prior to the season, he lost his top 3 receivers by week 2. So he had a banged up receiving corps. Last year, he got those injured players back. They added into the players as well. And all of a sudden, 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and Clemson had an explosive offense. You're going to see that from Oklahoma. They had their top 5 receivers down at one time last year. They get back Deion Burks, an NFL prospect. They add in a ton of talent. They go from a weakness to a strength there. They go from a weakness to a strength on the offensive line. They've now got a veteran offensive line, Bill Benbow, one of the best offensive line coaches in the game. They had in Jay Dodd at running back to go along with Javonte Barnes, who was the team's leading rusher last year. Ott was the top running back in the Pac-12 2 years ago. Banged up last year, sort of a shell of himself. He's back to 100%. And then you hit it also, Fred, with John Mateer coming in. Yeah. Not only John Mateer, but Ben Arbuckle from the Washington State potent offense last year, the offensive coordinator. I think they have an offense to go with the defense. And then look at the schedule. The schedule's still brutal. I rate it the 7th toughest in this country. However, last year, they only had 3 SEC home games. Well, this year, due to the fact that Texas is at a neutral site, they only have 3 true SEC road games. One's against Tennessee, one's against South Carolina. Both those are winnable. That means they get Mississippi at home, Missouri at home, LSU at home, even Michigan at home. A lot of the big games are now at home this year. I think Oklahoma is my number 1 surprise team in the country, meaning I think they can go from 6 and 7 to making the playoffs this year.
Well, one of my cohorts, Mr. Chris Arnold, a OU grad, is certainly going to be happy to hear that. One last thing real quick, and then, of course, I got to ask you one KU question before we leave. And, of course, but Texas Tech, look, they've got the new war chest. They might have the new Warren, they might have this year's, T. Boone Pickens, as far as 2025 goes with the oil and gas money they've got now. They've been phenomenal as far as, the money they've pumped into this football program, what they've done in the transfer portal and NIL. Will that translate onto the football field?
They may very well have the most talent in the Big 12 due to what you just said. They were ready. They were number 5 on my experience chart coming in. They had in all these transfer portals. However, I didn't pick them to win the Big 12. Why is that? Let's look at Texas Tech a little bit closer. In Joey McGuire's tenure, they're 15-5 at home, so very good at home. Sure. On the road, how about just 6-10? And when you look at their Big 12 schedule, there are teams that are in their class. In fact, I think there are 7 teams that can win the Big 12 this year. I'm talking about Baylor, Utah, Iowa State, Arizona State, Kansas State, TCU, and Texas Tech. However, they have to play 3 of those on the road. They have to go into Utah. Rice-Eccles Stadium is almost impossible to win. And at Arizona State, last year's Big 12 champ, and Arizona State's off a bye for that game. They also have to play at Kansas State. Coach Kleiman rarely loses at home. So those are 3 brutal road games, all in the Big 12. They're going to have to learn how to win on the road and in some really tough spots to get to the Big 12 title game. So while very talented, I think the schedule might keep them from being in the Big 12 title game this year.
All right, last question for me, and again, this is just for more for my own self. My Jayhawks, down year last year. We may have one of the best coaches in America, though, in Lance Leipold, considering what this guy's done in such a short amount of time at University of Kansas. Your thoughts on what this team can do this year, and are they one of your surprise teams?
Last year when I went over the team with Coach Leipold, he kept talking about seniors. It was a senior-laden group. So my thought this year, before I talked to Coach Leipold, was this team's going to be down because they're losing all these seniors from last year's squad. But after going through the roster with Coach Leipold, they still have a decent amount of seniors, and I like the talent. Jalen Daniels being back at quarterback is big. And let's look at last year a little bit closer. You look at those losses early on. They led in the fourth quarter. And they led in the fourth quarter, like Illinois and West Virginia and TCU and Arizona State. Those are all games. Kansas State lost by 2, but they played 4 ranked teams in a row at the end of the year. They almost beat Kansas State. Then they did beat Iowa State. They knocked BYU out of the Big 12 title game. They knocked Colorado out of the Big 12 title game. They played great down the stretch. I think they've got a chance this year. They should definitely get back to a bowl game. I didn't put them on my surprise team list. They do play a somewhat difficult schedule in the Big 12, but I think Kansas is going to surprise some folks, and they're better than I thought they would be when I started the offseason process.
Overall final college thoughts on this upcoming 2025 season, anything you've got your eye on, and then, of course, where people can go out and find the magazine.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think the thing that we're going to find this year, Fred, is that the homegrown teams are going to do well. What I mean by homegrown, teams that recruit a lot of freshmen and develop them all the way through seniors. They use the portal, but not a lot. Teams like Ohio State and Michigan, which won the last 2 national titles. Teams like Clemson, which won the ACC last year. Even Iowa State, which was in the Big 12 title game. So keep your eyes on that this year. I think the teams that are using 50, 60 transfer portal guys will struggle a little bit. And then the magazine is 100 or 360 pages, 2 full pages on every team. It's like getting 136 media guides rolled into one. Now, you can only get it at 2 places, Barnes & Noble and Books A Million. Those are the exclusive places to get it, brick and mortar wise, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, or you can go online at philsteele.com. And at philsteele.com, if you order the hard copy of the magazine, I'm going to charge you a shipping charge. It costs like $10 to ship these things. However, I give you the digital magazine absolutely free, and that's updated all the way through September. Plus, you can also get my FCS magazine, 2 full pages on every FCS team, and my NFL magazine, 4 full pages on each NFL team.
All right, that was Phil Steele. You can definitely catch this on Odyssey.com. All right, coming up next, it's time for a little fair or foul. 11 o'clock, we got a jam-packed hour as well. We will get to around the NFL. We will do some documentary talk and, of course, a CA story confidential. And who knows, we may have a guest pop in as well. Lots to get to. Don't go anywhere. Fair or foul coming up next.
With a Bosch 18-volt 2-in...
Our 2025 Firehouse tour continues this Friday morning, and this time we'll be in Red Oak.
Right off 35, Sean, at 547 North Methodist, and stop on by. We have free breakfast from Whataburger, plus with this heat, pick up a Sean and RJ one-of-a-kind cooling towel while they last.
We'll see you in Red Oak this Friday morning, presented by Whataburger, Fraser Roofs and Gutters, and Firehouse Movers with the Fan.
This segment on 105.3 The Fan is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. If you've been in the market to upgrade your vehicle, get to Classic Chevrolet in Grapevine. Back-to-back #1 Chevy dealership in the world. They got more new Chevys than anyone, all priced to sell. Silverado, Tahoe, Blazers, Malibus, Equinox, and more. Visit ClassicChevrolet.com. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Relax and enjoy the difference. Based on new Chevy registrations 2023 and 2024.
The quality of reads that have emanated from one Trevor the Creator from when he started, where I question whether he was literate, to where he's at now, almost opera-like in the way he conducts himself. And I just want to shout out to you, my friend. Shout out to you. Okay?
Gracias.
I want you to know how I feel. So, let that be known.
Makes me feel good, Fred. Thank you.
Fair or foul, questioning whether Trevor could read once upon a time.
Reading is fundamental.
Reading is fundamental. You know what?
Today, Junior.
But we know that Trevor can. All right, let's get right down to it, boys and girls. You know what that music means. It's time for a little fair or foul. I'm going to read a story, and we are going to determine whether or not it is indeed fair or foul. Now, this question, we are going to rely heavily on the knowledge of one Mr. Chris Arnold in this, considering that neither myself... Oh, we're going to fair... I mean, you know me. I'm a fair or foul one way or the other. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to the life experience as it pertains to what I'm about to read, you are the only person that, in this room anyway, the three of us, that can attest to whether this is any truth. There's any truth to this or not. And, of course, the Tolos and Fatties can chime in as well. 877-881-1053, 877-881-1053. Let us know your thoughts as well. Okay, here we go. Studies continue to show that living together before engagement can increase the risk of divorce later in marriage. While cohabitation has become common, research from the Institute for Family Studies found that couples who live together before a clear commitment often face weaker long-term stability. This phenomenon, often called the cohabitation effect, suggests that couples may slide into marriage rather than make a firm, deliberate choice. Without a strong foundation of commitment, those relationships may experience a higher conflict and less satisfaction over time. Experts caution that while cohabitation itself isn't automatically harmful, the timing and intentions matter. Couples who live together after getting engaged tend to have stronger outcomes compared to those who move in before making the commitment. Fair foul, living together before engagement increases divorce risk.
That's fair.
Okay.
I totally believe what you just read.
Okay.
And the reason I believe that is because marriage is a commitment. And if you just happen to live together, it's like you're trying it out, so to speak.
Yeah.
And everything's still open. You're committed for a while, like your girlfriend or boyfriend.
That's it.
But notice the caveat they put in the end there. If you're engaged and live together,
right,
you've committed.
You engage first and then move in after the engagement.
Right. If you're just moving in and seeing if we even like each other, well, guess what?
Right.
If you randomly say, well, we've been living together, we might as well get married, you're going to get a divorce.
And see, that's an interesting take, because I would think that by living with somebody, you get a little taste for, A, how they are, right. B, kind of what that what you learn from them.
But you're not committing.
But what if that leads to engagement? Because now that you've seen how that person is.
Well, see, this is what happens. This is where, how long will the engagement be? You just skip it. Engagement is like a skipping thing. Okay,
yeah.
You already live together. Oh, why would you just get engaged unless you're not really wanting to get married?
Interesting.
So in a way, to me, it's just about commitment.
Yeah.
When you're married, some people get married thinking, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's better to not live together and then get married.
Did you and your wife live together before you guys got married?
We did and we didn't.
Okay.
We did and we didn't.
You had separate places? But you guys would stay over at each other's house?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I wanted her to just basically have her own place for a while.
Yeah.
And one of our relatives, auntie said, that don't make sense. Y'all need to save some money.
It's fair.
She's fair. So this is not just a blanket statement, but marriage. Some people think, especially on women, they think it's a perfect world, pie in the sky. I'm going to change him, and this is the project.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have love, and then you're going to have some likes. In other words, you might not be in love every single day, but you better like them. But there's so many
sage advice, ladies and gentlemen.
There are some other people like, I don't need this no more, and they'll get a divorce, and that's because they might have a problem with commitment. Okay. There are some guys that will never get married because they have a problem with commitment, and it's not even about cheating on the girl they're dating. It's like, I just don't want to be committed.
I don't blame you for that, and I may or may not fall in that category. Point being, I read something not too long ago that said, kind of this new age thinking, as you're alluding to, you need to like 80% of your partner.
You do.
But the idea that you're going to like your partner 100%
it's impossible.
Is insane. Like, it's just not, I mean, you don't like anybody 100%.
Nobody.
Right? Like,
not even
maybe
your mama.
Maybe your kids. Maybe.
Until they're teenagers.
Oh, boy.
Then there's a like. You got to like it and love them again.
You do. I think you do go through a phase where, like, you really want to just punch your kids in the head.
Because they want to rebel.
Seriously.
Some people actually do it.
Yeah, they do. Something I found about kids, especially daughters and mothers. Kids want to be independent from their parents. They don't want their parents to be their friends.
Yes.
The parents want them to not have to go through the same things they did.
Right.
So the kids still love their parents, but they are afraid of becoming their parents.
100%.
And so they want to be independent, and they may do it in extremes. And you're like, you don't have to be this way.
No, you don't. But
you have to like them.
But you do have to like them. Boy, you ain't lying about that. Fair foul, Mr. Trevor the Creator. Living together before engagement increases divorce risk.
I do think it's very fair. I think I've known a lot of people.
Have you lived with a woman before?
No. I've barely got. Listen. Listen.
Uh-oh.
This is not. I got Caspered this weekend too, which is really. I got friendly ghosted.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What's her name? Let's put her on blast real quick.
Catherine.
Interesting.
But it is. But again, it's one of those things. Like, I think it is fair.
How did she go? Okay, backing up. But we should have fair fouled this instead. What happened? Real quick. We got about a minute.
I haven't got a text. She's like, do you have an IG? I'm a late night person. I love to talk late at night, which I'm a late night person. And I said, hey, and then I guess she fell asleep, and so I was like, hey,
sleep tight.
Have a good evening. I guess you went to sleep.
Send nudes.
And then I no. I played. I was like, hey, I hope you have a good day.
Yeah.
And then left it at that. And then
nothing since. When was this?
This was Friday night. So
48 hours.
And then again,
where'd you meet her at? Where'd you meet her?
Stupid Hinge.
Interesting.
It is what it is. But again, I think it's foul, or excuse me, I think it's fair because I do think she must have not wanted to commit. I didn't.
Clearly, it's on her.
I only have 70%.
Sounds like her problem.
I was only 70%.
How does she not like Trevor?
Yeah,
Chris.
Really?
For God's sake.
She doesn't know him.
We got on the phone for
Kat,
an hour.
if you're listening, 877-881. Is she a Tolo? Does she Tolo?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. She didn't even really like sports, so maybe it wasn't meant to be.
Kat, if you're listening, 877-881-1053, or if you know Kat, 877-881-1053. What the hell's your problem? Text my guy, all right? Quit being a you-know-what. All right, that's enough. Fair all the way around.
Agreed.
I mean, look, I can't talk, all right? I lived with a woman for 6 weeks, woke up one day and was like, this is too much. I got to get the hell out of here. What you got? You got anything?
No.
Okay. All right. Coming up next, hour number 3 of the program, we are going to talk documentary. We're going to take a trip around the National Football League. We got a CA Story Confidential. We've got a Trevor's Good News, which doesn't include this ratchet woman that decided not to text him back. And
how
we've
about
got
them
some
Rangers?
talk to get into as well. We're at the midpoint of the show. Your text messages and more. Don't go anywhere. This is 105 Through the Fan.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Go low, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
Driven by our D&M Leasing Studios. Thanks for turning it on and leaving it on. 105.3 The Fan.
Hour number 3 of the program happening right now, and it just dawned on me why my right earphone doesn't work. It's crushed. It's been crushed. I just realized that just now, so that would explain why.
It's not the chocolate?
It's not the chocolate. It's not the chocolate.
You didn't
and
put
honestly,
it in a protective bag to protect your earplugs?
I don't know what the hell. I mean, it's $10, but this is on me. So actually, I feel a lot better knowing that. So let's continue on. Let's carry on with the plan of the day. Programming update, 11:20.
Kyle Youmans, DallasCowboys.com, and your sideline reporter for those preseason games.
Absolutely. No,
TV
Kyle's done a wonderful job
great.
throughout the course of the preseason. Of course, friend of the station here on 105.3 The Fan as well. So looking forward to hearing from Kyle, talking all things Dallas Cowboys at 11:20. So stay tuned for that. And, of course, at 12:20, we've done this segment once. We've hijacked it 3 times. At least we have on Fan After Dark. You have not been a part of Trevor's segment yet, have you?
No.
Trevor's good news.
Looking forward to hear this.
Okay, it doesn't include anything about his dating life, but
good news, everyone.
That's right. That's right. So we should just change it to Trevor's non-dating life news is what we're going to call it. Until
literally anything
notice.
else is good news. You're absolutely right. Literally anything else is good news.
In the meantime, 877-881-1053. Throw some ideas out there. Hinge has not been friendly to our guy, Mr. Trevor the Creator. Okay, Hinge has not been a worthwhile dating app. For all you out there on the dating apps, give our boy Trevor some suggestions on what apps he needs to be on.
Yeah, that's a good tip. And by the way, the young lady you were talking about, she apparently has texted in.
Okay, and
601, she says, Cat here. Love your sports so much, Trevor. I decided to play a game. Without looking at your phone, what is my IG?
I don't know. She didn't even give it to me.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. She didn't even give it to me.
So you asked her what her IG was and she never gave it to you?
No, she asked me if I had IG.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, I do, but I don't mess on it much.
Yeah,
it's not like
I don't use it.
I'm not a big socials guy in general. Obviously,
Right.
As we know, it took me forever.
We
to
are
get
well
Twitter,
aware.
or X or whatever
we're calling it.
Twitter.
And so then she said that was the statement. I said X 2 things about what she had said, and then
we haven't heard back from her since.
The friendly ghost.
Okay.
Well,
look, we don't know what Kat might be busy.
Listen, I'll say this. She's a hyper intelligent woman.
Okay.
And I'm talking like business owner, she knows her ish.
Okay.
And so, and I'm about it, but I think
When you say she owns her own business, what would you say that is?
She doesn't own her own business, but she
Runs
owns some solar company.
Okay.
And it's big.
Yeah.
And so she's
allegedly.
I looked it up.
I mean, there's a lot of the thing about solar though. There's a lot of predatory stuff going on out there with the whole solar
and that's
part.
fair.
So
Totally.
you may have dodged a bullet. Just saying, or maybe you didn't.
940 says, I met my fiance on Hinge 3 years ago. I'm not sure what Trevor's doing wrong. From Jaime in Fort Worth.
Fred and Blake already gave me the rundown. What is this?
By the way, were you aware, Chris, that Blake was using your name?
What? On what? On what?
On Hinge.
Oh my!
Right? He's catfishing people.
He was going with the name Chris as his Hinge name for the longest time. And I joked with him one day. I said, "What are you telling people you're Chris Arnold?" And he goes, "Actually, I am telling people I'm Chris." And I said, "Well, Blake,
why?"
Because he didn't want to delve into who he was until he got to know them first.
He didn't want to big time anybody.
Exactly.
Oh, so you're big time with my name.
Well, don't worry about it.
Right.
He had to explain to one girl how to use the radio. Hand to God.
I believe that.
You got to remember, look.
This 21st century now.
They didn't know
radio.
She didn't know how to program 105.3 or to even get to the FM part of her radio.
She uses Pandora.
That's it.
Exactly.
Or Apple and all that kind of stuff. Exactly. CarPlay, the whole nine.
Yep. Another tip for you, 972 says, I'm a dude that helps other dudes with their dating apps profiles. Holla at me.
No, I'm not paying
that
for your
profile
service.
may be a mess.
Get out of here. I'm not paying for any of that. Mm-mm.
See, I don't, and no disrespect, and I appreciate you texting in.
Wait a minute, one more. Fred, this is from 214. Fred, tell Trevor to get him a cougar with a crock pot. Slow and low.
I'll be a sugar baby. Darn right.
A cougar with a crock pot.
I will rub your feet, ma'am.
There you go.
I am... Well,
wow.
I thought we were just in the studio here together when we have our conversation.
And just real quick, because it is a Sunday and Tolos listen all over.
Yeah, they do.
Okay. From Josh from Ferris, he said, fellas, can I get a couple of prayers for my nephew, please? He didn't say
Absolutely.
why.
Hey,
we got you.
Hey,
Surround
God
him with
bless.
some prayers.
Prayers up for your nephew.
We might even throw a prayer, Trevor, over there.
Not to get too morbid as well, but I got to give a prayer up while we're doing it. I got to say a prayer for my aunt. I shared this on the radio yesterday, but my 36-year-old cousin passed away on Friday after dealing with drug addiction for a number of years. And I told you guys this yesterday, and of course it's Sunday morning, it's church day. But if you've got somebody out there that's going through something, dealing with it, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whatever the situation may be, please reach out to them. And at the very least, and look, I get it. You've dealt with them, and you don't want to be an enabler and all that good stuff. And sometimes they come at you crazy. But at the very least, just let them know you love them.
Yeah.
If you haven't talked to them in a while, now again, everybody knows that they got that one family member that just won't leave well enough alone. So I respect that as well. But if you got somebody out there that you haven't talked to in a while, at the very least, and maybe help, maybe you don't know their number, there's probably a good chance of that as well. So anyway, anybody that's going through something right now like that,
we got
hearts and prayers with you as well. Because like I said, my aunt's going through it right now, and nobody should have to bury their child. Okay, bringing it full circle, the Cowboys documentary. Let's talk about it, and we touched on it earlier in the show, but I'm excited to talk about it with you, Chris, because like I said, you lived it. For you, that's a trip down memory lane for you.
It was
right. You've been there, done that. Mm-hmm. For Trevor, it's kind of a trip down memory lane as well. For somebody like myself, who's now new to DFW, been here for the last year and a half. Look, you can't be a sports person and not know the Cowboys,
right?
Okay, but to see it from the lens of The Gambler and the Netflix special, and then now being here, working with guys like Chris Arnold, being here at the Fan, and kind of knowing a little bit more about the background of the Cowboys and what have you, covering the Cowboys, a different story. I'll ask you first, what has the documentary gotten right? And then what's the one thing about the documentary you wish they would have addressed?
First of all, it's epic, and it is a masterpiece, and it is right there with The Last Dance. I found out that they spent $50 million on this documentary, and you can see it. The music's perfect.
Wow.
The footage they've got. This is not just
$50 million.
$50 million. This is not just like, it's like the quarterbacks, or it's another 30 for 30, or it's like Aaron Rodgers. No. This is right up there with The Last Dance.
That's well done.
And I was around all that Last Dance stuff and the Last Dance stuff too, and I was confident in my mind.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this matches up. I think for a lot of people these days, because they're overwhelmed with information and all this different platforms, you can pick up these stories and behind the scenes stuff. They just think it's just another one. No, this explains why the Cowboys are the most valuable franchise in the world, and why there's an empire in Frisco and it's worth like $2 billion just off of the tollway. It explains this, because you're like, they haven't won anything in the 21st century, and that's a fact. But guess what? And it's not just showing Jerry's money and how smart Jerry can be and Jerry and Jimmy. It's showing you why that team of the 90s was unfreaking unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, and I thought it was interesting, too. They had Dion. I mean, he was the last person to talk before they asked Jerry his part, which I thought was great. But he made a great point. He said, this Cowboys team is chasing that.
Yes.
Okay. Like this it's one thing to win a Super Bowl. They're chasing
their own history. In other words, they're not trying to win. Yeah, they want to win another Super Bowl. I'm talking about the team. We're talking about the team, the players in that locker room. They're having to overcome the 1990s Cowboys, or even Landry's Cowboys. So they're not chasing the Patriots. They're not chasing. They're
not chasing the Chiefs.
No. The Detroit Lions. They're not chasing those teams. They are trying to live up to what they did, what Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman did, Roger Staubach, Drew Pearson, those guys did.
The thing about
and that's a shame, but that's what it is.
Well, no, it's a shame. On one hand, I'd agree with you, it's a shame, but on the other hand, it's a privilege.
It is a privilege.
Because let's call it what it is. Outside of, I don't know that nobody hates the 49ers. All right, maybe Raider fans.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing about that.
Not like an arch rival.
Like let's call it what it is. And I thought Jimmy made a great point when he did his speech in the Star when he got it inducted in the Ring of Honor.
AT&T.
He said, I thank all the millions of Cowboys fans, and he goes, but I also want to thank all the millions of Cowboys fans, all the haters out there. Okay, because that's and. Let me try to be as unbiased about this because going into this, I mean, I feel very unbiased because look, you guys know me. I'm a Chiefs fan. I've gotten more. I'm starting to find myself becoming more of a Cowboy fan because I don't have the emotional scars that Trevor does. Okay, I wasn't here for the team like you've been, and so I don't have the emotional attachment to the Cowboys like a lot of folks do. But I do have an appreciation for what this team is from a sports fan standpoint. And it's Jerry is such a polarizing figure when you watch him. Because on one hand, the NFL isn't what the NFL is without Jerry Jones.
Exactly.
I mean, let's be real for a second.
He lifted the whole damn thing.
The NFL is a behemoth in part because of the marketing genius and just overall business savvy of Jerry Jones.
That's why Rupert Murdoch's in this documentary. And Phil Knight from Nike is in this because they're showing how Jerry flipped the whole damn thing. It's one thing to win these championships and win these games, and Jerry and Jimmy were the greatest thing. But it's another thing to come in and say, you know what? I'm going to get us another network involved in this thing and make all the owners rich. Guess what? I'm also going to have my own merchandising rights. And the NFL, you can sue me, but I'm going to sue you back, and I'm going to win the damn thing. And he did. And that's why it's the most valuable franchise in the world, even bigger than United, Man U, bigger than Barcelona.
Bigger than the Yankees,
bigger than the Yankees.
Patriots, all those
of them. And they haven't won squat in the 21st century.
Think about this. This tells you all you need to know about the marketing. And look, this isn't us trying to, I'm not trying to wax nostalgia about Jerry Jones. But I'm unbiased enough to where you can be upset with him and dislike him for.
Correct.
And I can't remember who was it that said this. Maybe it was Colin Cowherd or whoever said it on the documentary. It's easy to dislike Jerry the GM. Okay, Jerry the GM is not great, especially in the last 20 years. But Jerry, the business owner, and Jerry, the business icon, is a genius.
Exactly.
He really, truly is. And you have to separate the two. But because he's such a ubiquitous, larger-than-life figure,
right,
the lines blur.
Right. And here's what's wild.
Especially here in DFW.
Here's what's wild. If you're under the age of 30, because you weren't alive for those Super Bowls.
Right.
And you can't quite get why Cowboy fans and their families go crazy over the Cowboys. Watch the damn documentary.
Yeah,
and it's not going to make you a
telling
Cowboys fan, but it will make you understand what the curse and the blessing is. It'll make you understand. You're like, so this is what this is all about. And this is why I call the current players, and all of them have great qualities, and all of them give them the, I call them trustafarians, trust fund babies. Because guess what? They step into the star. They step into all this stuff that Jerry and Jimmy and Michael Irvin and Troy and all of them created. Roger Staubach, they created, and it's like, I'm going to try my best, but you know what? It's comfortable.
And here's the thing.
It's like a rich kid. You can't help that your family is wealthy, but they are.
And I'll take it one step further when it comes to, you talked about, we both talked about The Last Dance.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more similarities to a Michael Jordan and Jerry Jones than we really realize.
Yes.
Okay? Think about it this way. Michael, as a business owner, yes, he's had a ton of success from the standpoint of, okay, he bought the team for a couple $100 million and then sold it for $2 billion, okay? But it wasn't because of anything he did outside of being Michael Jordan.
Michael with the Charlotte Hornets.
With the Charlotte Hornets, okay? Like, the Charlotte Hornets were a terribly run organization.
But he didn't upgrade it.
But he didn't do squat to it, right? But and here's the thing. The same way you have to differentiate Jordan, the basketball player, from Jordan, the owner, all right? But guess what? very savvy business guy when it came to running shoes.
Yep.
Same way that Jerry's a very savvy business guy when it comes to running the NFL and how he runs the Dallas Cowboys. All right? But they had their moment in the sun in the 90s, and we as fans who grew up in the 90s and have a special place in our heart for the Michael Jordan Bulls of the 90s, the Jerry Jones Cowboys of the 90s, right? And there's a part of us that are still chasing because we want to see that again because it was one of those things, and Chris, you know this, and Trevor, you know this to an extent as well. It was one of those things where, what is it, FOMO, fear of missing out?
Uh-huh.
You know, you had to be there.
Yeah.
You had to be there because it was a magical time. And honestly, we haven't seen anything like it. And what made those teams special was you had three guys in each realm, and you had a larger-than-life figure as a head coach. Sure, the Patriots had Brady and they had Belichick. And then just a cast of characters that followed them. The beauty of the Cowboys was you had three dudes in
the triplets.
Romo, Aikman, or excuse me, not Romo, Michael Irvin, Emmett, and Troy. All three Hall of Famers.
Yep.
Okay? Michael, Scotty, Rodman, you know,
All Hall of
Phil
Famers.
Jackson, Jimmy Johnson. I mean,
All
you know
Hall
what
of
I'm saying?
Famers.
Larger than life figures.
And there's an article in the Morning News today. I highly recommend people read this. Jerry's genius is he was able to capture attention. Attention these days, we talk about attention spans. He realized
Fleeting.
back then, as long as people are talking about you, good or bad, that's valuable. He monetized
Yes, he
attention.
did.
In
Yes,
other
he
words,
did.
people know about content creators. Jerry was creating content before nobody knew what that was.
Jerry's, we'll get you out of here with this. We got Kyle Youmans, DallasCowboys.com coming on next. All you need to know about Jerry Jones, again, GM, we can talk about that all day, every day. The reason why they haven't won a Super Bowl in 30 years, we'll discuss that another time. That dude literally is going by the same handbook that he did in the late 60s, his master thesis on marketing and the business of professional sports. This guy has been
Plotting it
doing
up
this since the 1960s.
before he even bought the Cowboys.
Okay, this guy has been on one. And by the way, put a little respect on Daddy Jones's name too, because I'll tell you what.
His father.
If that dude doesn't tell him not to buy the San Diego Chargers and get in bed with Jimmy Hoffa, and he made the greatest point in the world, what happens if you miss an interest payment?
Clack, clack.
You're going to end up with Jimmy Hoffa, and we still don't know where Jimmy Hoffa is, okay?
Exactly.
So, again, say what you want about, and I'll say this and I'll shut up and we'll move on. I respect the fact, and we can all, and you're a family man, all right? I love my two children to death. The fact that he's done this with his kids and to see, we can say whatever we want about Stephen Jones, but to watch him get teared up when they asked him, what's the succession plan? He goes, I just want to enjoy this moment with my dad as long as I can, and we'll take the rest from there. I don't care who you are. I don't care whether you like Stephen Jones or not. I'll tell you what, if that didn't hit you in the feels, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Because it certainly hit me in mine. Yeah. That's the three-time Hall of Famer, Chris Arnold. That's our boy, Trevor the Creator. I'm Fred Davis. Coming up next, let's get a little brevity in here. Let's get things a little lighter. We're 2 days away from Cut Down Day. What's Kyle Youmans think? We'll get into that more next. Don't go anywhere. This is 105.3 The Fan.
they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before. Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel. Oh, is that your name? No, I mean like your name. No, I'm Jen. My name is Jen. Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut. But that's hair on your head. I'm not saying this is your hair. Okay, for you.
Target app. Hurry and save more with the long weekend sale happening now through Monday. Only at Target.
This segment on 105 Through the Fan is brought to you by the Frankels. If you've been injured in a car or truck wreck, call Frankel first. 214-817-333-3333. With Frankel & Frankel, there's never an out-of-pocket cost, and they only get paid when you win. Frankel & Frankel, the go-to car truck work attorneys in Dallas.
Appreciate that, Mr. Trevor, the creator. Let's jump out of the D&M Leasing Hotline. Welcome to the program. Friend of the station, friend of the show, and all around one of the best at covering your Dallas Cowboys, the one, the only Mr. Kyle Youmans.
Hey.
And Kyle, let's get down to it, my friend. We are 48 hours away from Cutdown Day. Kind of what are the nerves like in the building right now? I know Shotty's talked about yesterday about the Micah stuff. We'll get to that here in a little bit, but Cutdown Day being the most pressing right now. Kind of what's the nerves? What's the feeling? What's the vibes?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where the hay is in the barn. I mean, you've heard that saying a ton of times in broadcasting by now, but the decision is mostly just trying to piece together who's available because of injuries, who's able to go on IR for a significant portion, who's going to be maneuvered one way or the other as the designated to return guys. You'll start to see guys start flying off the roster pretty quickly here over the next 48 hours. But with it being a month of training camp and then the preseason, the feeling, I think, is everybody knows where, at least within the building, where they're going to be for the most part. Maybe a couple other decisions. I know Shotty said yesterday that defensive line, linebacker, offensive line, cornerback, some of those positions are going to be a little tougher than others to sort through. But I think right now it's mostly just trying to figure out who is where and who's going to be designated one way or the other before they make that final decision before Tuesday.
Before we break down position groups, any thought that they may be looking at waiver wire guys from other teams?
Sure. I think they, at least in the conversation that we had with Jerry on Friday during Countdown the Kickoff. He said there's always that opportunity to go and look elsewhere. Now, Dallas is notorious for saying we like our guys, right? That we like having the guys that we have in the building. And for the most part, that's league-wide. I mean, the majority of practice squads are made up of guys that you had in training camp or that you have a relationship with previously. So they are going to try and keep a certain number of guys to move around. But, yeah, I think at some point you're going to look at the waiver wire. Maybe it's a backup quarterback. Maybe it's a defensive tackle. Maybe it's a running back. I mean, somebody that gets cut here is going to end up somewhere else from the Dallas standpoint. So you may have to go get somebody from somebody else's practice squad or from somebody else's waiver wire. So, yeah, I definitely think it's a possibility. It just kind of depends on that big picture scenario that we're going to look at, and everybody's going to piece together that 53-man.
The only reason I bring that up is there are some teams, don't get me wrong, I'm not disappointed totally with the Cowboys quarterback room, but there are some teams that got 5 and 6 quarterbacks on their roster, and I'm like, come on now, you got to look around just in case.
Yeah, and I think I know one team that everybody's got their eye on is the Cleveland Browns. I mean, you've got 2 rookies there with Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. You have the veteran in Kenny Pickett, and then you have the uber veteran in Joe Flacco, who's actually starting. They're going to have to make a decision. Are they going to keep all 4 of those quarterbacks? Probably not. But you also got to remember that depending on where you are in the waiver order, you may not have a shot at those quarterbacks. It may be the guys or the teams that are 1 or 2 in those waiver orders to think about it. But even with that being said, you think about their situation and how they've handled it. If Kenny Pickett, we know that name, right? Or Dylan Gabriel, we know that name because he's a rookie. If those guys are so great, why is Joe Flacco still beating those guys out in training camp? So is everything greener on the other side? Maybe, depending on what situation it is. But I still think there's a lot to be sorted through, and it's a decision that those coaching staffs, I do not envy the coaching staff for having to make.
Kyle Youmans, Cowboys.com, joining us here, talking all things Dallas Cowboys, cutdown day, 48 hours away. Now, talking about not envying, look, D-tackle, we understand that that's a position of, I wouldn't call it a strength for this Dallas Cowboy team, but then you juxtapose it with the defensive end position, which might be one of the best defensive end groups in the entire National Football League. You could go 7 deep if you really wanted to. Now, you're certainly not going to, but when you consider you got a guy like a Sam Williams who didn't really play in the preseason at all, but then you had a guy like a James Houston who some said, all right, well, that's a camp body. He flashed. I think he played himself into a position on this team. I think Tyrus Wheat had himself a pretty dadgum good camp, and I would have zero issue with him being on this final 53. What kind of situation do you see this team in with that defensive tackle group? And, of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't look at number 58 as well.
Yeah. I think when you look across the board and you're trying to piece together these defensive line groups, it's usually 10 or 11 spots that are up for grab between the defensive tackles and the edge rushers. So are you going to go heavy on defensive tackle to combat the fact that you're pretty thin there on a roster side and you're going to keep a couple extra bodies? Or do you just accept the fact that you're thin there and maybe go look elsewhere, and in the meantime you keep guys like James Houston or Tyrus Wheat on the roster? I think Tyrus Wheat is an interesting case because he always seems to have great preseason games and great preseason action in camp, and they've liked him since he was signed as an undrafted free agent 3 seasons ago. I mean, he has stuck around for a reason, and they just do not want to get rid of him because he brings a special teams element. He's a perfect practice squad player that you can elevate and kind of bounce back and forth to your active roster throughout the season. And then if you get in a pinch and injuries do hit the edge rusher room, he's a guy that fills in quite nicely. James Houston, same kind of thing, veteran, first year with the team. He's still a guy that you can kind of put in that same mindset. And he had a good camp, but really what he did was in that final preseason game. Is it enough to add a number? That's the biggest question. They're not going to keep James Houston over Sam Williams. I mean, Sam Williams is on this team. I know there's kind of a narrative out there that he shouldn't be or whatever it may be. This team really values Sam Williams still, and he should be on the roster. And they believe he should be on the roster. James Houston showed, hey, maybe I do have something left in the tank here. So if they're going to keep him, it would be an added number to that edge rusher room. So instead of 6, maybe they keep 7. Maybe instead of 4 defensive tackles, they go down to 3, but that would still be super thin at a position that really, really needs it. So it's a balancing act. I don't see a spot where both James Houston and Tyrus Wheat are on the roster. Maybe one of those guys gets a nod, and the other one they try and stash onto the practice squad. But they both played well down the stretch, and I'm interested to see how they handle that situation.
Let's talk Micah. And let me explain why I want to talk Micah. Not in the negotiation part, but just talking about where his mind might be. Everybody saw the footage of him. You even saw him on the sidelines. You're down on the sidelines again. Yeah. He's laying on the table. After the game, Trayvon Diggs talking to the media, and he was saying Micah's back's bothering him, and he probably want to get an MRI. We heard he got an MRI. We heard the MRI said he's fine, and he's supposed to be having a meeting with Shotty. What do these developments mean to you as far as what you think his availability may be for game 1 against the Eagles? Because Cowboy fans want to know. I know you don't know expertly what it means, but these are like developments that people keep an eye on.
Yeah, especially whenever there's such a lack of information around a certain subject. Any sort of information feels like huge information. Oh, he's laying on a training table. Right. That's a big sign. It's like it really wasn't. He was just kind of chilling. Yep. Like he was off to the side, hanging out. I don't think it was really even anything to do with the back. The MRI, it feels a little bit more significant. The fact that they did go through the procedure, they looked at it to see if it was something worth noting or not. And then the meeting with Shotty could be something as simple as, hey, if we are going to get you ramped up, how much of a ramp up are you willing to give us? I've been on the side of Micah being available week 1 all the way through. I don't see a situation where Micah doesn't play that game. It would take something monumental for him not to, whether that's from an agent side or from a front office side. I see this happening and being okay. He hasn't been needed at this point in time. I mean, yes, you would like to see him get some reps and get the conditioning in, but he's been working off to the side. He's been in practice. He's been in meetings. He's been in walkthroughs specifically. He's been walking through with the team. So all the mental reps, all the scheme stuff, he's got that down, at least seemingly at this point in time. It's just whether or not he's willing to give up the negotiation aspect and actually go and play. And I think as a competitor, he wants to play. It's a division matchup against the Eagles in Philadelphia on prime time, Thursday night football, week 1. I think he'll be out there. This might just be the early steps into making sure that he is able to get back out there and do it in a safe way where he's not putting himself in harm's way from an injury standpoint. And maybe that's the constant communication that he'll have with the coaching staff since he's not able to have that conversation with the front office.
I like what you're saying because you're thinking with or without an extension. It reminds me of Zach Martin a couple of years ago when he's going through the same thing. He said, okay, table of negotiations. I'm playing this season. We'll talk after the season.
Yep. Yeah, and it may be something like that. And, of course, the storylines will continue to buzz. Sure. Any bad look or side look or walk by or scoff that he has in the media, one way or the other, is going to be a massive storyline. When at the end of the day, is the deal signed or not? I don't know, but I still think he's going to play because that's the type of competitor that he is. If he wasn't planning on playing week 1, I don't think he would have been in practice, at least be at practice. I don't think he would have stayed in Oxnard for the month, which he did. He stayed there the entire month that the team was out there. He was there the entire time. If he wasn't planning on playing week 1, I don't think he's there. It would take him leaving the team and exiting the team for me to look at Micah and say, you're not going to play week 1. And I don't see something major like that happening between now and September 4th.
Kyle Youmans, Cowboys.com, joining us here. Get you out of here with this. Everybody feels pretty confident, and look, I know you're plugged in as well as anybody. I mean, media, fandom-wise, I think everybody's pretty locked in and thinks, all right, this offense is going to be okay. I think the offensive line, I mean, look, if the backup offensive line looks as good as it has the last few weeks, I think we all feel pretty good this starting offensive line is going to look pretty good as well. What have you had a chance to talk to Eberflus? We have, we know about. We already talked about the D line, but look, we didn't see much of the secondary. We did hear that Trayvon Diggs is going to be on the initial 53, though. Yeah. For a position or a group that's been in flux as far as just health is concerned, what conversations you had with Eberflus, and how confident is he that he'll be able to, utilize his scheme and this team's going to be okay defensively, at least to start the season?
Yeah, I've actually enjoyed getting to catch up with Eberflus quite often throughout training camp this year. His first year back, and so we've kind of gotten to talk a couple times, and he's nothing but confident.
Okay,
and I appreciate that because that's what this unit needs. Because, like you said, a lot of it's out of his control. Mm-hmm. A lot of it is Savone Rebel's not ready. Trayvon Diggs has been out of practice. The great news that he's going to be back, I think, adds maybe a little bit of juice to that secondary, because now you're not just rolling with Kyer Elam, who had a great summer but is still relatively unknown in the game. You have Deron Bland, who is coming off of a major injury last year. He's looked good in camp but hasn't been tested quite yet. Those are the two guys that you have really stock in going into the year. So having at least a third guy in Trayvon Diggs that you can either mix in the rotation or ease his way back in, you're still more confident about that than you were previously. So that's big. But the confidence, I think, for me from Eberflus is looking at the way this linebacker group played through the preseason and played through training camp, because they went out and added guys like Jack Sanborn and Kenneth Murray, who established themselves as starters on this defense. And I think Kenneth Murray, when they traded for him, that was such an under-the-radar move. This is a guy who's had nearly 100 tackles in each of the last 3 seasons, or has had 100-plus tackles.
Absolutely.
Based off of his time with the Chargers and with the Titans. So I really liked and currently like what I've seen from Kenneth Murray. So you have those two guys. Then you have Maris Liufau. Then you have
Damone Clark's looked better.
Damone has looked better. They fly freely to the football. Shamar James, the rookie out of Florida, has looked great at times and flashed on a couple of occasions. And all of this is being said without DeMarvion Overshown.
Right.
So I think when you hired Matt Eberflus, you said, what is his strength? Coaching linebackers. What do we need to go get? We need to go get some linebackers, and they did that. And so even with the injuries in the secondary, and it's a huge question for me, don't get me wrong, I still think there's a lot to be solved in the secondary. It makes me feel better that we have the edge rusher room that Dallas has certainly put on display, and there's that linebacker room that the Cowboys have currently that is playing at a high level. Those two things I think you can build around, and everything else can kind of fall into place from there.
Kyle, what you got on the agenda for the rest of your Sunday, my man?
Oh, man, I'm just hanging at home watching the babies, maybe catching up on some college football that I missed yesterday. Got to watch a couple games. It was good to see college football back in week 0, and then taking some notes, getting ready for a big week up at the Star in Frisco.
Love to hear it, Kyle. Appreciate you taking time, valuable family time from us or from you on a Sunday. Enjoy the kids, and we'll talk to you soon, my friend.
All right, guys. Sounds good. Talk to you later.
Thanks,
there
man.
You have it. The one, the only Kyle Youmans, DallasCowboys.com. CA Stories
always working.
Coming up next, where are you taking us, CA?
Me and Jimmy. Next on 153 The Fan.
Was it Saffron Squad?
something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before. Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel. Oh, is that your name? No, I mean like your name. No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen. Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut. But that's hair on your head. I'm not saying this is your hair.
Morning, and this time we'll be in Red Oak.
Right off 35, Sean, at 547 North Methodist, and stop on by. We have free breakfast from Whataburger, plus with this heat, pick up a Sean and RJ one-of-a-kind cooling towel while they last.
We'll see you in Red Oak this Friday morning, presented by Whataburger, Fraser Roofs and Gutters, and Firehouse Movers with the Fan.
This segment on 105.3 The Fan is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. If you're in the market to upgrade your vehicle, get to Classic Chevrolet in Grapevine. Back-to-back #1 Chevy dealership in the world. They got more new Chevys than anyone, all priced to sell. Silverado, Tahoe, Blazers, Malibus, Equinox, and more. Visit ClassicChevrolet.com. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Together, let's drive, relax, and enjoy the difference. Based on new Chevy registrations 2023 and 2024.
Appreciate that, Mr. Trevor, the creator. Just a quick heads up. Final hour of the program coming up after we get done here. We've got a little show reset, kind of, give you an update on everything that's going on with the rest of your sports day. Trevor, and then, of course, we will get you ready for your Texas Rangers. But without further ado, a little CA Stories Confidential.
How about a little CA Stories Confidential about Jimmy Johnson? Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Trevor. Thank y'all, Charles, for allowing me to share some of these stories covering sports and anything, entertaining things since 1980 around here. And I was thinking about Jimmy because of not just the documentary, but because we were talking about on the air a little while ago about how Jimmy Johnson told me when he grew up in Port Arthur, Texas, the P-A-T, that he went to high school with Janis Joplin. You know, one of the greatest rock icons of all time. She died at the age of 27, but she was the voice. I mean, she was amazing. And he said that his nickname, because he was in high school, he didn't have that long, perfect hair. He had a burr haircut. He had a scar on his head, a football injury, and they used to call him Scarhead. And he said they used to call Janis Joplin Beetweeds. And that's just one of the little stories that Jimmy would tell me. He drink beer. He drink an iced Heineken. He put Heineken on ice. Like, have a cup of ice and pour Heineken on it. And that's the way he liked his beer.
Wow.
And so, I was like on a team charter one of those times. But I first met Jimmy back, I want to say it was 1988, where 1988 or 1987, OU was playing Miami in the national championship down in Miami in the Orange Bowl. I was covering the game for K104, and Jimmy versus Barry Switzer. It's even, I think it's in the documentary. Is that in the documentary? But all I'm saying is what happened is OU lost to the Miami Hurricane.
Yeah.
The star of that game was Michael Irvin. He was wearing number 47 back then. He was number 47. Months later, he winds up being the Cowboys' #1 draft pick. Tom Landry was the head coach, and Michael Irvin was a rookie. And before he even signed his contract, before he was put on pads, we met him at the airport. The media met him at the airport, and he had such that personality that I immediately said, Michael, how'd you like to have a show on K104? And do a Cowboy update. Back then, I had Tony Dorsett doing it. I had Everson Walls doing it. And I also had Herschel doing it for a minute. And I also had Drew Pearson doing it. So I said, Michael, you could do this, man. So Michael started doing K104 sports.
You gave Michael Irvin his first media opportunity here in DFW.
He even put it in the paper in Miami when he went back. He said, they gave me a radio show as soon as I landed.
That's awesome.
So back to Jimmy. Who knew a year after that Jerry would buy the team, Jimmy would be the new head coach of the Cowboys? The crazy part about that is Tex Schramm was actually wanting to hire Jimmy Johnson to replace Tom Landry. A lot of people don't know that. Tex Schramm, in the late 80s, Tom Landry wanted to retire or needed to retire.
Right.
and he actually flirted with the idea of retiring. And then they had a losing record, and he told Tex, well, I can't leave it like this. It's like, what? And you can't fire him.
Yeah.
You just got to let him. But he didn't want to go out on a losing record.
Right.
So he stuck around. The crazy thing about it is, Tex told me this. I was covering the Super Bowl. It was the Joe Montana last-minute touchdown against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay, it was like 20-16 or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. And it was I think you threw it to John Taylor or something like that.
Yes, across the middle. Yeah.
Yep, and he was saying, looked at John Candy's in the stands. So I'm covering the Super Bowl. Tex is there, Tom Landry's there, and Jimmy Johnson's there in some big suite. So they were all there. And Jimmy didn't know it, or maybe Tex put the bug in his ear then, but Jimmy didn't know it, that he was going to be the new Cowboys. He didn't know Jared's trying to buy the team.
Right.
At the time, the team was going to be so bummed. Bright was trying to sell it to a group from Japan. That's who Tex wanted to be the owner. Some group out of Japan, and they just let him keep running it. Because Tex Schramm was the general manager, but he did everything like Jerry's doing now, so to speak, as far as marketing and all that. And so Jerry came out of nowhere and bought the team, and you already know the press conference and everything where everybody was so mad at Jerry. I was at that press. I was at all that stuff. Jerry was like, "This is like Christmas," but everybody was all upset that Landry got fired.
Well, real quick for the folks at home, explain that have seen the documentary. Set the scene for what that was like as you guys were waiting to meet this dude for the first time, because we didn't. It wasn't like back today.
Right.
Y'all didn't know much about this guy.
Not at all, because it came out of nowhere. He was an old guy from Arkansas. That's all we knew. And it was out of nowhere because Tex was trying to get this thing maneuvered. Bum Bright, the owner, who went to Texas A&M, he couldn't stand Tom Landry because Tom Landry went to UT, and he said Tom Landry would never shake his hand. And he was mad. Bum Bright was mad about that. He told Jerry, let me fire Tom Landry.
Oh, wow.
And Jerry said, no, I want to be a man about this. I want to look him in the eye. I don't want to
Which he doesn't get enough credit for.
He doesn't.
By the way.
Jerry told me over and over again that he wouldn't have never bought the Cowboys if he couldn't bring in Jimmy Johnson. And he wanted to tell Tom Landry, it's not you. You're an icon.
Yeah.
But I've got to go 24 hours. And I got to be able to talk and cuss and fuss and argue. And Jimmy Johnson's my guy. He was my roommate on road trips in Arkansas.
And wouldn't you agree in today's NFL, like with the record he had at the end? I mean.
Oh, yeah. It was kind of like Belichick's last few years. So the bottom line is, Jerry was excited because he was happy he bought the team, but I was actually covering a fight in Las Vegas and flew back for that press conference.
Yeah, you did.
It was a Tyson fight. I can't remember who it was, but I flew back because it was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
I flew back. And by the way, I mentioned this yesterday. The restaurant they were eating, the Mexican restaurant that blew up where Jimmy and Jerry was, it was Tom Landry's favorite. It was Mia's on Lemon Avenue. The guy that owned it is Butch. And I had Butch on my show on the ticket talking about the whole thing.
Yeah.
I actually talked to Jerry about why he went down to Austin and fired Tom Landry on his golf course. Tom Landry's on his golf course, his favorite golf course, and Jerry and Tex went down there, and he just wanted to be a man about it.
Be a man, do it face to face.
Exactly. He said, I got a lot of respect. And Tom Landry was mad about that. And it took a couple of years, and he didn't still forgive Jerry. But he did let Jerry put him in the Ring of Honor.
Right?
And Jerry was real smooth about, we got to get the Landry fans and we got to get the Cowboy fans all on the same page. But this
winning certainly didn't hurt.
Yeah. So I was getting ready to talk like some more Jimmy stuff, but where I'm going with this as well is like me and Jimmy became pretty cool. And to this day, we're good. Me and Jimmy have an excellent relationship. Me and Jerry got an excellent relationship. Me and Landry had an excellent relationship. Back in the late 80s, when the Cowboys were still being competitive, Tom Joyner at K104, he had a great idea. So let's have a pep rally for the Cowboys. They're having this showdown against the Washington Redskins, the NFC East champs. Let's have a pep rally on a Saturday. The game is going to be on a Sunday, and we'll have it at Redbird Mall, because back then Redbird Mall was the spot.
Yeah.
And we announced it. We had Jeffrey Osborne. He was singing. If anybody knows anything old school music, love ballad. I have never been. He had some up-tempo songs too, but Jerry Osborne was there. And I had to talk to some of the Cowboys to come to the pep rally.
Okay.
Everybody wanted to go. Then Tom Landry said, no, that's going to be a distraction. How come Everson Walls and Tony Dorsett went behind his back?
Went anyway.
I picked him up in a limo from the practice field on Forest Lane. We drove down there. We got stuck in traffic. Traffic was backed up in all directions. CBS was doing college football that day, but they had the Cowboys game there. They had a helicopter, and they were showing this press conference. The
pep rally.
We had food trucks out there. We had a big stage. Me and Everson Walls and Dorsett, and I want to say maybe another Cowboy or two. We were in the front, the back offices of Redbird Mall, which is now the remodeled the whole thing.
Okay.
It's off of 67. I found out the owner of the 49ers owned that mall.
Of course he did.
Eddie DeBartolo owned Redbird Mall. All this 49ers paraphernalia was all over the walls.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
I was like, what? In Dallas? So we did the pep rally. So fast forward, Jerry and Jimmy buy the team and all that. They win one game the first year, but during that season, they're trying to get the fans back on board. And Jimmy said, let's do a pep rally. Okay, wonderful, we're going to do a pep rally. So Jimmy did the pep rally at the West End. Had a nice crowd. Wasn't like the crazy crowd.
Right.
But a nice big crowd. And then Jimmy was always telling, when people say, what's your favorite radio? He said K104. He was always saying that. So I've traveled all over the world with the Cowboys. Jimmy was introducing me to sumo wrestlers in Tokyo. The Cowboys playing in Tokyo Dome.
Right.
He's like, Chris, look at it. One day, Jimmy called me into his office to just talk. And he said, Chris, I got something for you. I said, oh, yeah? It was a autographed. He wrote a book about the Cowboys called Turning the Thing Around. And he autographed it. He said, you're going to love this. And then
gave you a copy of his own book.
Me and Jimmy, I was on the plane when he tell everybody can't eat food. I was on the plane when they win, and Jimmy got on the PA and said, all right, everybody, the media's outside. Do not talk to any media because you need to go straight home because we just going to the Super Bowl and nobody need to be slurring.
Yeah.
And Jimmy did all the interviews right there beneath the plane. Jimmy and Troy were just like in the document. They weren't good at first, and I swear to God, they bonded over fish. That is true.
Yeah.
Jimmy was all about. He loves to fish. He's still in Key West because of fishing, and the whole. I could go. You want me to give you a part two on the other side?
Yeah, absolutely. Tell you what, hold that thought.
Jimmy got a party downtown with fish.
Hold that thought. We're going to reset. We're going to do a show reset, finish up second part of the CA Stories Confidential. Great. Lots to get to. Don't go anywhere. Find another program coming up right here. Don't go anywhere. It's 105 The Fan.
Take us with you wherever you go. Now heard on the iHeartRadio app, YouTube, Twitch, the TuneIn app, our Odyssey app, and of course, with the biggest mother of a radio signal in DFW. Thanks for making your favorite travel buddy 105.3 The Fan.
It's time to warm up that scoreboard and get ready to bring home the win with Specs. Specs has you covered with lower prices on all your favorite fan fuel. From craft beer, rare spirits, and world-class wine to chips, dips, and gourmet finer foods. And with same-day delivery when you order online or through the app.
This is the exclusive home of Dallas Cowboys football. KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas, Fort Worth. Let's go, Cowboys.
An Odyssey sports station.
Driven by our D&M Leasing Studios. Thanks for turning it on, leaving it on. 105.3 The Fan.
Final hour of the program. I'll tell you what, CA was the first person I did radio with here at 105.3 The Fan. Now, we weren't on air. I did my first quote-unquote air check with CA. We did it right over here in the side studio. And CA can attest to this. I came out guns blazing. Even then, I said, is Kyrie still that dude? And me and Say have been going at it ever since in a good way. But look.
You had to let him know about Kyrie, y'all.
He had to let me know,
he was taking the national perspective,
and I didn't back down. But that's why CA and I get along so well is because and CA was like, who is this dude? Nonetheless, we got a little flavor of what's going on with his relationship and Jimmy Johnson. And so where you left it off at in part one of your CA Story Confidential, and it's a good CA Story Confidential when we have to go into a part two of it, but you were just touching on the fact that him and Troy.
Well, no.
I'm sorry. That's you and I. Oh, I'm sorry. Hello.
I can catch it up, Fred. So here we go. Here's the rest of it. We were talking about these
pep rallies. Hello.
Okay. So there's a pep rally K104 had with Jimmy Johnson in the West End, and it was a nice crowd, whatever. And that was when they won damn game. They won.
How many people would you say were there at the first one? Give or take.
Not like the one with Tom. Not like the one with
Not the
Tom
one
Jordan.
right.
Tom Jordan had thousands.
Okay.
This one at the West End, maybe a couple hundred.
Okay.
It was a hot Saturday.
There's a point to all this, right?
All this. So fast forward, you look at the documentary, you see a big, giant pep rally at Texas Stadium going into the championship game against the 49ers. This wasn't even going to the Super Bowl. The 49ers.
Right.
I was at that, of course, as well. There was 60-something thousand people there.
It was a full stadium.
And it was traffic backed up in all directions. There were media guys thought they were going to go cover this pep rally and couldn't get in because traffic was backed. If you didn't get there at like 4 in the afternoon,
really?
And this pep rally was supposed to be like at 7 o'clock at night, you couldn't get in. It was impossible.
You had people there 3 hours ahead of time?
Oh, my God. It was crazy.
Were they tailgating?
Yeah, and it was free, so everybody was there.
Oh, that's all you had to say.
It wasn't like, come on now. But think about this, though. The Cowboys had sucked for like 8 years, 10 years.
So people were hungry, literally, to go see a winner.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
And the 49ers were the Super Bowl because the 49ers the best team in the NFL.
Yeah.
And if you beat them, the Bills, even though they were really good,
49ers. That was the team of the 80s.
The AFC was not really competitive to the NFC in the early 90s.
Hell, they lost, 16 in a row?
So back to Jimmy. Again, I was on all those plane trips. I mean, I covered the Cowboys home and road games. Was on the charter from 1983 to 2010.
That's wild.
So I've seen it all.
Yeah.
And Jimmy, like I said, had a degree in industrial psychology. So he knew exactly how to push the right buttons the right way, the whole 9 yards. Back to Troy. He and Troy bonded over the fish.
Yeah.
Jimmy loved to fish, which is why he still lives in the Florida Keys. When Jimmy first got there, and Jimmy and Jerry drafted Troy, number 1 pick overall in the draft. But they had a supplemental draft pick in the summertime, and they picked Jimmy's quarterback from the Miami Hurricanes, Steve Walsh.
Which is crazy to do.
That's Michael Irvin's quarterback.
That's crazy
who
to
won
do.
the championship with him. And so it's like, Jimmy said, it's like wide open. And Troy's like, what the hell? See, everybody thinks it's the Berline thing. No, that was like the last thing. But
so he was hot already.
He was like, he didn't know if Jimmy really wanted him to be.
Okay.
It was like, that's the dude that won the championship. And so finally, Jimmy had to realize, wait a minute, I got to let Troy know, no, you're the guy.
Yeah.
You are the guy. And then he did, I mean, this is after the Berline thing. It was like, they weren't really close because he was trying to keep a distance. For some reason, Jimmy was trying to keep it. But then they bonded over the fish. And Troy had this big aquarium built in his house, in his bedroom. And Jimmy had a big old aquarium. And then Jimmy had a party downtown at the World Aquarium. There's a big World Aquarium downtown. Have you ever been there?
No, I haven't yet. I got to go.
Nothing but water, sharks and everything. Jimmy had a party there.
Okay.
And I'm at the party with Jimmy's, and he got assistant coaches and whoever else in the media he wanted to have there. And so I'm there, and I'm like, Jimmy, this is bigger than your aquarium. He goes, watch this. Hang on, Chris. Watch this. Watch what happens. Jimmy dove into the aquarium in scuba gear.
No, he did.
Swear to God. Jimmy at his own party in the big World Aquarium. Anybody been to the World Aquarium? That's a big-ass aquarium with sharks and stuff. He's in the aquarium with scuba gear on and waving at everybody. That's Jimmy. And then when they won that first Super Bowl.
Was this before or after the alcohol? He jumped into the aquarium at his own party?
He planned it all out.
Scuba gear and everything.
He planned it. It's the World Aquarium. They had to have the stuff ready for him. He planned it all out. But nobody knew he was going to do that, and he did it. They win the Super Bowl and the Rose Bowl, the first one with Jimmy and Jerry. And there's this big after party at this. It was somewhere in Pasadena. It was like it was like a high school, seriously, a high school, something that nobody ever think that they would, because they didn't want to do it in L.A.
Okay.
They had this, and it was big, Super Bowl party. I had some stuff to do first.
Right.
I think Channel 8, we were doing some stuff down because I was working Channel 8 too. And so I get over to the Super Bowl party. So it had already been going. First person I see is Jimmy. Got his Heineken. Chris, I'm glad you made it. He gives me a kiss on the cheek. I said, Jim, I'm like the mafia. What the hell? And he said, hey, Chris, that DJ sucks. Can you go up there and tell him and get the music right? I said, all right, just a minute. Coach, I'll be right back.
Because you're the perfect guy for it. Nobody's better connected than Chris Arnold.
No, I don't know about all that. I'm just saying is he asked me to do it. So I'll go up there and tell the DJ a couple songs. And then again, because that's just me and Jimmy's relationship.
Right.
And then, okay, after, Jimmy and Jerry's divorce, like how the divorce, because both of them wanted out of it. Jimmy's retired. Oh, by the way, right after it happened, he opened up a little spot. Not open a spot. He had some interest. I was a spokesman of some fast food seafood place, and it had a grand opening. He was already not the Cowboys. It was like months. I was like, what the hell? Jimmy's in town to this franchise thing.
He just didn't care.
And he had a grand opening, and so me and Troy were there, and nobody's with Troy. So me and Troy are hanging out. I'm trying to, fans like, hey, it's Troy. No, I'm bodyguarding Troy, basically sitting in the booth. And then I said, why would he do this? It must have been something previously committed.
Yeah.
The next year or later on that year, there's a Super Bowl in Miami, and I'm covering the Super Bowl, and Jimmy opens up a big-ass restaurant in a hotel down there on South Beach.
Okay.
And it was called the Jimmy Johnson's 3-Ring Sports Bar and Grill.
Okay.
And it was at the Eden Rock Hotel. And it had a gigantic aquarium in it.
Of course it did.
And of course, I did some call-ins from his restaurant, but I was there for his grand opening and all that.
Food any good?
And Chris, well, I'm not Mr. Seafood guy, but it was some seafood and it was good. I'm not the judge of seafood. I'm not. Every now and then I eat some seafood, but he opened that. So I was there for that. And I go on and on and on and on. But me and Jimmy have always been fine and good, and just I can go on. But we got other stuff. I didn't want to extend it that long.
There you have it, the Chris Arnold part 1, a little bit of part 2 of the Jimmy Johnson travails with one Mr. Chris Arnold. And, of course, he's retired now. No more Fox TV. Gronk took his spot, which really all they did was Gronk was already on there, so instead of replacing him, they just basically slid him over.
But see, this is where you have to give Jimmy credit for doing it for all these years. He was living in Key West, which is the tip.
Yeah.
I drove to Key West. Do you know you can drive there? Yeah, Miami have these little bridges that connect those little islands in the Keys.
Isn't that the bridge from True Lies that connects it?
I think you're right. All I can tell you is I drove down there.
Okay.
I was bored in the middle of Super Bowl week one time. I just drove all the way down there.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy would fly from Miami all the way to L.A.
That's a hell of a
That
trip,
Fox show was in L.A. And so he was doing it every freaking weekend during the NFL season.
Last thing on this, on the documentary stuff.
Oh, well, I got to say one last thing real quick. One last thing.
Go for it.
A lot of people don't know this, but Troy threw a 25th anniversary party for that first group of Super Bowls. And all the players came. Jerry was there. This was downtown Dallas.
Okay.
South of Lamar.
Okay.
I believe it was South of Lamar. I'm trying to remember. I was out there for that. Jimmy was there. Jerry was there. Barry was there. North Turner was there.
The whole gang.
Everybody was there.
Yeah.
And like I said, another side note about how, because I'm like young in those days. I'm hanging out not only with Jimmy and Jerry. Jimmy has two sons, Chad and Brent. Chad went to Florida State. Brent was at UT. This is when they were winning Super Bowls.
Okay.
I'm hanging out with them on these road trips. Steven and Jerry Jr., I'm hanging out with them. Steven, I was doing his show on the radio
Right.
before he was doing the show. I mean, I was first guy doing the show with Steven. So I go way back.
You just get the feeling from watching that where for those 5 years, Jerry and Jimmy were the perfect complement to one another. Because let's call it what it is. Jimmy, I mean, they've each had success in their own ways, but let's be real for a second. Jimmy didn't have the same kind of football success as a coach after he left the Cowboys.
Nope.
You know, Miami, if we want to lambaste Jerry Jones, and rightfully so, Jimmy was a mess in Miami. I mean, it wasn't like he went to Miami and tore the world up.
Jimmy only he said this, and even Rich Dalrymple told me this. I said, Rich, the PR guy, I said, how come you didn't go with Jimmy with the Dolphins? You was down there with the Hurricane. He goes, Jimmy his style only lasts 5 years. Everywhere he goes. Oklahoma State, Miami. And that's why Jimmy said, I can't come out of retirement with 2010. But Jerry, you can bring Jimmy. Jimmy said, I'm not that guy anymore.
Yeah.
I don't have that same intensity no more. I'm not that man anymore. I don't want to be that guy no more.
No.
And that's why even Jimmy even said this, and I was talking about this yesterday. Jimmy even said this when he got officially as an inductee in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He was making the rounds at Super Bowl Radio Row. He said, I did not know that the players were mad at me all these years until recently. That they were mad at me because I insisted that they block out anything that would distract them from winning a Super Bowl, and then I wouldn't block out Jerry.
Right.
Or my relationship with Jerry and let that keep us from winning even more. He said, I did. And the players were like, they were mad at Jimmy and Jerry, but they're like, they weren't never mad at Barry. They were like, Jimmy don't play, because they were mad at everybody kept saying, you can't win a Super Bowl without Jimmy. All the media kept saying, you can't win a Super Bowl without Jimmy. Like, Jimmy don't play. We're going to win a Super Bowl without Jimmy. I could go on and on and on and on. I'm just going to say that Jerry and Jimmy both have a love-hate relationship. They're good now.
I was going to say, they're good now.
Would always, Jimmy, it was usually Jimmy, would always say something that would tweak Jerry.
Oh, Jimmy had no problem
when AT&T Stadium opened, Jimmy was right there with Jerry in the suite when I think it was George Strait opened it up with a concert.
Yeah.
When they had the big boxing matches, Jimmy was there with Jerry. And like I said, Jimmy was there with Jerry at Troy's big deal with the reunion.
Yeah.
So it's not like they never ever saw each other until the Ring of Honor.
They said, and it's funny you bring that up.
They were always doing
They said
stuff.
when they were together, they were good. But once they separated, then somebody would start popping off.
Usually Jimmy would say some smart aleck remark because he got a degree in industrial psychology.
That's all that guy knows. That's all he knows. Give it a look. I'm sure a lot of you guys listening out there probably already have. But again, if you haven't yet, and if you're doing it because, I don't want to hear anything about it, just, I tell you what, it's worth your time. It absolutely is. Like I said, I'm a huge Last Dance guy. I still think it's the best in my mind. But I'll tell you what, The Gambler is 1B on that list, to say the least. All right, look, we had college football yesterday. All right, college football season's here. I mean, let's be real. From this weekend on,
it's back.
We're back.
We're back.
Okay, we are back. We've got college football on Saturdays.
UT Ohio State
football. Pro football is going to be just around the corner as well. And then, of course, we're only 48 hours away. 48 hours away from cutdown day. And then once that takes place, guess what? We finally get to see Dak. We finally get to see George Pickens. We finally get to see CeeDee Lamb again. I guess we're going to get to see Javonte Williams. And I'm of the belief, CA, I don't think we're going to see Tyler Guyton in week 1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we should, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously he's going to suit up, but I don't think...
Keep him healthy.
To throw him out there when, it's not like he was the plug-and-play left tackle to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, he is in a way, but what I mean by that is, it's not like he had a Tyler Smith like last year. Okay, let's be real about that. So this is a guy that needed training camp. Thank God it was only the bone bruise, okay, so we can feel better about that. He's been ahead of every marker thus far. So, yes, he will be ready in weeks 2, 3, or whatever. But I think and that's probably why Nate Thomas didn't play this past week, all right? Hakeem Adeniji didn't play. Now I'm guessing he's going to back up Terrence Steele. But at the very least, I don't want to see Tyler Guyton week 1. That's a big ask for a guy that missed training camp, getting back into shape, and then you're going to throw him to the Wolves against Philadelphia week 1? Let Nate Thomas do his thing. He's serviceable. You'll be fine. If you got a chip on that side, do what you got to do. But I think you can still take care of business in week 1. It's going to be a tall ask, but like I said, we've got plenty of time to get ready for that. Coming up next, Trevor, where are you taking us?
So I've got flying taxis. I've got concrete, some AI blood, and
really
defibrillators on Everest. That's next. Good news, everyone.
Our goal is to have you winning every sports debate with your buds. We'll do the homework. You just listen and enjoy. Turn it on and leave it on. The Fan and our Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Save on best of season produce at Whole Foods Market. Get organic yellow peaches or nectarines for $2.99 per pound with Prime through August 26th. Enjoy the sweetest and juiciest fruit of the summer. While supplies last, shop in-store or online. Terms apply.
Eric Chiafalo here, and we're all tired of rising insurance costs, so let me introduce you to Josh, Alexis, and Caden Vining of Greystone Roofing.
That's a...
Jen. Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut, but that's hair on your head. I'm not saying this is your hair. Okay, freak.
Sunday shows now, which a huge part of my Sunday. I love doing Sunday shows with my boy Chris Arnold. But as far as football goes, we don't have a Cowboys game
until a week from Thursday.
Well, we got that, but I'm saying that's a way, right? So you and I don't have to worry about that as far as like we can watch that. But I'm talking about when we put in that work over at AT&T Stadium.
Yeah, post game.
But I'll tell you what, I'm ready for the cut down day because now I am moderately intrigued by what 3 offensive linemen, because I think you and I are both in agreement. Real quick, we're going to go to Trevor stuff here in just a second, but I think we're both in agreement. I think they're going to keep 10 offensive linemen, right? I mean, it only makes sense, especially considering you've had, you got questions at the tackle spot, right? But you got your starting 5. Then you've got TJ Bass, Brock Hoffman, and then I'm thinking a third guy. Nate Thomas. Okay, so there's 8 right there,
right?
So you've essentially got 4, maybe 5 spots for 2 guys that you got going on there, right? I think, and Blake sold me on this yesterday. Probably not going to be Austin Richards. Okay,
you mean cut?
Cut, exactly. I have a feeling it's going to be Hakeem Adeniji, and then the other gentleman I think that's probably going to be on this roster. I have a feeling it might end up being Nick Brooker, the left guard.
I got a sleeper.
Who, La'el Collins?
La'el Collins.
You think so?
Yes. Not only...
I don't hate that.
Not only do they all know him. He and Dak are fishing buddies. They like to go fishing together. La'el Collins is almost like, I got Dak's back.
Well, and he can play guard and tackle.
Yeah, he's swing. And he doesn't need to start. But when he was starting, he was bad, man.
And you can do a lot worse at that 10 spot.
Yeah.
Than La'el Collins.
And
so you know what?
He's in better shape than he was when he left.
He absolutely will. Okay, you got me. I think and I'll tell you what. Okay.
I don't think it's a lock, though. But
I'm with you on that.
There's a lot of intangibles there.
I don't dislike that call right there. And then and look, I don't know. And look, the reason I'm picking Hakeem Adeniji is because he's a Jayhawk. So let's call it what it is. All right, enough out of me.
Oh, one thing.
What you got?
A quick shout out. I mentioned Redbird Malls where we had a big pep rally.
Back in the day.
Today is the 50th anniversary. They're having a celebration down there. The shops at Redbird. So if you go by Redbird, you know what's up. And by the way, that was the first ever Chick-fil-A location in the state of Texas was at Redbird back in the day.
Are you serious?
Swear to God. And it was in the building as opposed to standalone by itself.
By the way, they got a White Castle coming to DFW.
I heard.
Next year.
What?
When?
Next year.
Let's go.
Talk about a slider.
You like White Castle?
I love White Castle.
Some of the nastiest ass burgers you ever had in your life.
But do you get the frozen burgers? Do you get the frozen ones or do you get the real ones? I've had
the real ones.
Okay, I was just checking.
I had the real ones.
I don't like the frozen
I'm a real
ones.
One. Okay.
All right.
I am for real.
Huh? Fight me, bro.
No fighting.
Fight me.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just excited.
Let's update your Hinge profile after the show.
That sounds actually. That sounds like a phenomenal idea. Actually,
I think we should put Trevor on Black People Meat.
Okay.
I think we should put Trevor on Black People Meat. I think we should put him on Farmers Meat, and I think we should put him on eHarmony.
Not farming. No farmers. I'm not.
Dude, I've heard that Farmers Meat's off the chain, bro.
Listen,
hey, go find you a little shorty that got a ranch.
What I got to wear? Wranglers and some boots. I can't do that. I'm not that guy.
Couldn't you see him in some cowboy boots and a cowboy hat, a little piece of straw hanging out his mouth?
I've done it.
What?
But I'm not that guy anymore. I'm not like that.
Oh, but you can be.
I used to bulldog, by the way. Just if
you said you were gonna be a sugar baby.
Say giddy up.
All right, take it away.
Anyways, guys, I got some good news for you here.
What's that?
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
No! Tell them put it backward! Tell them to turn it around!
Who likes good news? Everyone? Then good news, everyone!
Good news, everyone. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, gorillas.
This is a segment where I'm just trying to spread some good news, whether it's feats of science, whether it's getting the world better, or humankind just being excellent to one another. So, guys, do y'all have any good news going on in your life today?
Right side of the dirt, my friend. My boy Henry Thomas officially became what do you become when your daughter gets married? You're officially a father-in-law at that point?
You got a son-in-law, so yeah.
Yeah, right? So
he's the father of the bride.
He's the father of the bride, right? Sure. So my boy Henry Thomas, one of my closest friends in the world, and the one guy the one guy that when that trade went down, because you broke that story, the Herschel Walker trade, was the one guy that Minnesota said the Cowboys wanted Henry Thomas, defensive tackle for the Vikings at the time. Henry was the one guy where they said, and obviously you weren't going to get Chris Dolman, but they said, Henry's off limits. So boom, there you go. But my man's daughter just got married over the weekend, so shout out to my boy Henry Thomas.
Good news. That's good news. CA, you got any good news, man?
I have to think about it.
Okay. Well, we've got time.
Because I always look at the positive side of him. I'm a half.
He's positive every day.
Well, obviously, from what Fred established earlier, anything else going on in my life other than my love life is good news. So good for me, right?
Say that again.
Tolos, if you've got any good news, send it in. Let me ask this. Fred, I think I know where you stand on like flying taxis or AI flight. You're not about it?
Well, say that. I'm sorry. I was admiring the fact that somebody said the one time I agree with Fred, White Castle's horrible. Continue.
Okay. Good for you. It's good news. That's good news for you.
It's great news for me.
AI taxis, flying AI.
I mean, driverless.
I'm here for. You know what? Look,
sure.
I'm in on the AI bandwagon, bro.
Okay, that's right. CA, where do you
both
sit?
feet.
Would you be in an AI taxi? A flying AI taxi?
Yes, after further research.
Okay, so
in other words, I don't fear AI. I want to respect it and harness it.
Very much. So the UK is working really hard on that right now. They just did their first flying taxi. It's taken one step closer to being, I guess, becoming a reality, where they flew 150 miles an hour over 100 miles, and it took them 8 minutes to get from where was it here? I wish I would.
So is that a drone you can ride in, or
as of right
or is
now,
it a helicopter?
this is piloted. What they're doing right now, but they're taxis. But they're working on AI droned taxis. So UK has already started doing taxis with pilots, where they can hold up to 4 people. And so I just think it's pretty cool. Like I'm about it. I would be excited if you can fly to, San Antonio.
Sure.
In 45
they were talking about
minutes.
having some not driverless air taxis around here, and I was like, yeah, all this bad traffic, I would take a helicopter somewhere if I knew, Uber it.
Wouldn't be cheap though.
Yeah, it wouldn't be cheap, but sometimes you have to say, okay, I gotta make.
No, sometimes exactly.
Gotta make a business.
Well, but if they can get to, because these are electric, if they can get to that point, if they can get that to where you're wanting it to be, because according to Vertical Aerospace website, the air taxis would be able to take passengers from Battersea in southwest London to airport in just 8 minutes, and that's compared to 52 minutes or an hour and 5 minutes by train or road. So I don't know. I think I'm about it. I think it's dope. I think it's exciting. I would love to see some flying drones and cars and things like that out here.
No, I'm all for it, but let's make sure that, look, I'm all for the electric, this electric progression, but let's continue to improve our transmission, because where's all this electric power going to come from?
Fair.
The windmills.
You know what I'm saying? And look, and I'm not disputing that. You're right about that. But we got to continue with the transmission lines, because that's one of the biggest problems is you got wind and solar producing at crazy levels in West Texas, but because there's a bottleneck, I'm looking at you, Texas Senate, as to getting the transmission. So we're wasting power out in West Texas because of a conglomerate that doesn't want to put transmission lines. I'll get off my soapbox. I'm done.
Anyway, where do you guys stand on climate change? What's y'all's thought process there on climate change?
Be specific.
Do you believe in climate change? Let me ask that. Do you believe in climate change?
Yes, because you see what happens when different things are destroyed.
Okay, so
I think it's nuanced, but
it's fair.
And again,
there's things. There's levels.
Yeah, there's levels. It's not just this or
Exactly.
that, but there's things that change the environment.
So they have
you cannot pretend that it's not plastic coming up on shore in Galveston.
Oh, absolutely. There's wild stuff going on. So this is something cool. I don't know if you guys know, but concrete is responsible between 5 to 10% of global carbon emissions. Did you guys know that?
I did know that concrete does that in cow
I knew
poop.
cows.
Well, yeah, good old methane. Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Keep your farts to yourselves, guys.
Cow farts.
Well, what? I thought it was farts. I thought they're farting methane, right?
That is. That's what I said.
Oh, I thought you said it wasn't farts.
Yeah, no,
I said it. Yes, it's
what he said.
Cow farts.
So basically, Northwestern is trying to make concrete. So you've heard of carbon neutral things,
Does
correct?
Jake Reitman know this?
Yeah, that's where he went to school.
Maybe I need to text him. But they're trying to work on carbon negative concrete.
I love it.
So the way that they're using seawater, electricity, and carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
And so how like coral and seashells, they pull in things to keep making coral reef bigger.
Yes.
This would pull in carbon dioxide to make it stronger, which makes it carbon negative.
Man,
So
I'm glad you brought
concrete
this
being
up.
Carbon negative is wild to me. Just wild.
No, and they've got people working on that. And it's been a couple years. So I had a renewable energy podcast back in the day, and I had a guy on that he wrote a book about that. The stuff that you can find in the ocean that can help with climate change, as the overall temperature of the earth. I'm a big believer in, look, you need everything. All right, you need solar, you need wind, you need oil, you need gas, you need all of it. But there's ways around it. It's not a one or the other proposition. You know what I'm saying?
Agree. And that's what people try to do. They try to make it one or the other.
We got to stop with it. We need it all because this population ain't going anywhere. So anyway, we digress.
And it's not just, and they're talking about doing things with cement, and then the paint that I talked about forever ago that was antimicrobial. There's plasters that they're working on to do stuff like this. So they're just trying to be more, climate conscious.
Do you bring this up on dates?
No.
Maybe you should. Maybe you should.
Listen, if I can't bring up pro wrestling, how am I going to bring up? Do you believe in carbon negative concrete?
You're trying to save the world, dude.
That's fair.
If that's not an aphrodisiac, I don't know what is.
All right,
okay.
Last thing to save the world. This I think is really cool. I'm actually really excited. Do you guys ever watch The Pit? Have you ever seen that show?
The Pit.
It's an HBO. It's Pittsburgh ER.
Isn't that I was going to say? Isn't that Noah Wiley dude?
Wiley, dude, don't exasperate on this one.
I'm
because the show
exasperated
is
already.
phenomenal. The show is absolutely phenomenal, and I bring that up because they had an issue where they ran out of blood, and Japan is working on something where they're using it's expired blood to create artificial blood cells that they can inject into people's bodies. So instead of, and it's what did they say here? So how you're like O negative or O positive, like you can take anything in or you can give anything away. This blood that they are using right now it's givable to anyone. I'm lacking the term there, what that's called.
Did you just call it givable?
Givable. Yeah.
Is that a real
available.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm not reading the article.
The blood is ubiquitous. Look up that word.
Ubiquitous.
Is it injectable?
It's injectable, but they're working on it. So by 2030, they're going to try to be able to have volunteers be able to get receive blood.
It's fake blood.
It's not fake blood. It's just it's artificial blood. And so they're using old blood cells. They're using old things from expired blood to inject, and it feeds just like.
So wait a minute. You mean to tell me there's a shelf life on there's a use by date on blood?
On blood, yeah, absolutely.
What's the use? How long is it good for?
It coagulates at just like any other thing. It just is when you keep it cold. It's just at a different speed.
From the 352, I mean I don't even know where the hell that's at. The Pit is fantastic.
It's a phenomenal show. It is. I mean, seriously, it is. I'm a huge.
When's the last time you donated blood, Mr. Givable Blood Guy?
This actually, watching The Pit made me go out and donate blood about a month ago.
Really?
There are different Tolos texting in saying the blood thing you're talking about is universal blood.
Universal blood donors or universal, yeah.
Isn't that O negative or O positive or something like that?
O positive, I believe you can receive anything, and then O negative, I believe, can go to anyone.
I'm A positive.
There you go. I think I am too. I think that's like
I don't
the most
remember
common.
what I even asked, and I don't.
Fool,
remember.
you just gave blood. You don't even know what type you are.
I legit don't remember. I'm very.
So you just give him blood. Don't even know what kind of blood you're
I'm
getting.
not a special kind.
If
you're an O positive or an O negative, though, go give blood. Go give blood.
I've heard that blood isn't red until it reaches
it hits the oxygen. It's blue, isn't it?
It's purple.
Purple.
That's what this blood is.
Does Jake Reitman know that?
I don't know. He did go to Northwestern, and they're
go to Northwestern.
To
all of our TCU fans out there, shout out to you guys.
Go Frogs.
You blood people.
Last thing, would y'all ever have anybody with a defibrillator in them? You know anybody?
A defibrillator in them?
Yeah, well, they have a defibrillator.
You mean a pacemaker?
You mean use a defibrillator?
Yes, a pacemaker is basically the specific word, but it's a defibrillator.
What about it?
Anyway, on Everest, a man
what kind of segment is this anyway?
Okay, chill out. He
Dr. Trevor.
It's just making up good news is what it sounds like.
Man, this is it. He saved a life. They put a pacemaker in someone that was on Everest.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks later, it saved their life. And so
hold on, what?
2 weeks later,
they put a defibrillator in them when they were on Mount Everest?
At 20,000 feet, at one of the Sherpas there.
I was going to say, the Sherpa did it?
it wasn't a Sherpa, it was a doctor. It was a UK doctor came in and he put a pacemaker
in those temperatures.
So he brought this. He trekked up 20,000 feet. Where was and so homeboy was just laying up there for the whole time.
Yeah.
How long did it take to get to him?
They were on there. They were out there with it, and it happened, and they got it. So it saved his life. It literally saved his life.
Okay, cool. We got a doctor or somebody with a pharmacy that says 956 O negative is the universal donor.
Yeah,
AB positive is the universal receiver.
So from the 214, blood is red 100% of the time, guys.
I haven't heard that.
I don't think.
I'll tell you what, your segment, I'll say this.
It blew up the text.
It has definitely got people talking. Okay,
I thought it was over their head.
I think we should change this to
Dr.
Trevor's questionable news.
That's always fair. I'm not great at reading, so
Trevor's this may be right, this may be wrong news, but we're gonna go ahead and read it anyway. You know what? I'm here for it.
Hey,
okay, I am here for it.
That's good news, everyone, and I'd like to remind you here.
It's called fake news.
This is fake news.
No, don't attach that to your segment.
We're not going after that one. But I'll leave you with this.
Oh,
good people
man.
don't need to be told what is good. They just need to be reminded. So I wanted to remind you of some good news, everybody.
Oh, dun, 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 dun. I'll tell you what, we should be this segment should be sponsored by
several
Hallmark.
Tolos texting in and saying no, the blood is blue.
Nope, blue turns red in oxygen. Okay, so there you have it. All right, so we have started a blood fight. Better gang, Bloods or the Crips? On the other side, we'll discuss more. Don't go anywhere.
Yep.
We're here at Genesis of Plano, part of the Huffines Auto family, and asking customers what the it means in Huffines has it. Today, we've got Marie Jennings.
The it for me was how friendly and helpful the staff was.
And at Genesis of Plano, we value your time because we value you. Besides our award-winning customer service, we've got a great selection of new 2025 GV70s and GV80 SUVs with low APR financing and low payments with no hidden fees.
DFW Restaurant Week is here. Unforgettable menus, the best dining experience ever, and it all benefits Lena Pope and North Texas Food Bank. Visit DFWRestaurantWeek.com to view menus and secure your table. That's DFWRestaurantWeek.com. Book your table today.
Hi, I'm Dax Kirks, co-owner of Best Buy Windows and Siding, and I just want to say thank you. Over half of our business now comes from referrals. That means happy customers are telling friends and family about us, and that means the world. If you want real value, no haggling, and full transparency, we're your people. No gimmicks, just honest work at a fair price. Call 469-WINDOWS. That's 469-WINDOWS, or visit us at BestBuyWindowsAndSiding.com. Thank you, North Texas. We're just getting started.
Do Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keep coming back? Tremfya, guselkumab, may help, with rapid remission achieved at 12 weeks and lasting clinical remission at 1 year. Some even saw visible improvement of their intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Approximately 3 out of 10 patients were in endoscopic remission at 1 year, based on areas visualized on colonoscopy, which may not represent the deeper bowel layer or entire GI tract. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's Discount Furniture's 200th store milestone with the entire Bob's family across the country. For more than 30 years, we've believed everyone deserves the home they love. That's why we brought our everyday low prices on furniture, mattresses, and more to over 200 locations from coast to coast and counting. Not to mention free treats for the whole family in our cafes. Celebrate Bob's Discount Furniture's 200 store milestone this Labor Day weekend. Oh my God!
I just saw 2 houses for sale, same neighborhood, almost identical. One had an Orchard sign and sold for way more. Why? Orchard's local agents know how to attract serious buyers, and they handle everything for you. And with Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program, you can move into your new home before your old home even hits the market. Don't settle for less. Get more with Orchard, the smarter, faster, hassle-free way to sell your home. Start with your free home valuation at Orchard.com. That's Orchard.com.
The long weekend sale is on at Target.
What a show today. What a show on a Sunday. I tell you what, shout out to our boy Trevor, just making up stories and passing them off as truth. But you know what? In 2025, you can get away with that. In 2025, you can get away with that. I'm kidding. Absolutely loved that segment. And I'll tell you what, I don't know that any other segment outside of CA's stories talking about the pep rallies in Troy has gotten, or Jimmy Johnson, has gotten more people fired up than you saying that blood's not red. Okay, because we've got people firing off.
I feel like it's purple in your body.
Okay, well, you're over here. You're over here feeling things that maybe you shouldn't be feeling, because I'll tell you what. Okay, from our boy from the 214, I've got a pacemaker and defibrillator. That's from BK in Fort Worth. And then from the 817, look, let's just take it for what it is. AI overview plus 11. No, human blood is never blue. While oxygen-rich blood is bright red, blood that has delivered its oxygen to the body's tissues turns a darker red, not blue. I was wrong, LOL. That's what they told us in school back in science class. So much for science.
Thanks, science.
From the 972, there's oxygen in your blood. While it's in your body, it's always red, guys. And then from the 682, I need more of the good news segment.
Hey, there you go, Trevor.
It's
unique.
And then
it's an acquired taste.
From the 254, Trevor trying to read segments. Okay, so
that's fair.
That could be from Kat.
Well,
If you know, you know. It's a deep pull from earlier in the show.
One last time.
Yeah?
I just was.
What'd you say to her? What'd you say to her?
I said, because she. Oh, well, see, but then this is sad
just
because
go
you don't
say
get the
it.
joke.
No,
Listen,
come on.
okay, I said,
Come
I
on,
hope
who
you
cares?
haven't met any other Hinge boys.
Yeah, I would have been a little more demonstrative. If I was you.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm aggro.
It was a joke because she brought it was a joke.
Did you put a laughing emoji next to it?
I did. I gave it a little I made it cute.
Yeah,
that was the simple.
Well, see, maybe that's the problem. You know what my problem? And I'm just going to put this out there and
talk more about concrete. Is that what
let's
you're
let? I'm going to have CA, who's the married man here. I think you're too nice. Okay, I think you're too nice of a guy. I really do. I think that's your problem. I think you're too nice of a guy. You need to be more of a jerk. Not like just a mean guy.
I know what you mean.
You know what I'm talking about. And I was going to say another word, but it's not safe for radio. But I think you need to be a little more rough around the edges, maybe is the term I'm looking for.
There's a lot of women that want the challenge of a bad boy.
Yeah, you're too nice.
They want to fix you. They want to fix, but you're already a good guy, so there's no challenge. They're like, well, what am I going to do with him?
Sounds like I can't win.
They see me coming, they're like, what is
I see something in him.
Here?
Inside, he's a good guy, but I can fix him up rough around the edges.
That's it. So I think that's what you need to do. You need to be a little more flippant. I think you need to be a little more aggro, and just see where it takes you, bro. See where it takes you. Okay.
We're gonna sit on it and see what happens.
That's it. From the 214 TCU, you blood people, ROTFL. Okay, so there you have it.
Rolling
Fred
on
just
the floor.
rolling on the floor laughing. That's what Fred does when he hollers at his blood people.
Speaking of Tarrant County, Rangers
by the way,
are playing
you're a
the second.
TCU guy.
No, my son is.
Your son is.
I went to OU.
By the way, when is when's track season start for him?
Well,
it's the off season right now.
This is off season. They're going to build up, and then some cross country stuff they might do this fall, but it starts like in January.
Gorgeous campus, by the way.
It is.
I was on it last month. I was helping my.
It really is.
I was helping my cousin move, and absolutely gorgeous campus. All right, Texas Rangers going for the sweep today. Where's my pin at? Let's go ahead. Last time we did this, you hit the nail on the head. You had you picked somebody to hit a home run and the win, and you got it exactly right.
The score.
You got the score and the home run right.
And Trevor also co-signed on that.
No, he did. He did. Okay, so let's do this real quick. We've got approximately 4 minutes. All right.
First of all, let me say this about the Rangers. They're going for a sweep against Cleveland, and they actually could pull this thing off.
No, they absolutely can.
And was it Merrill Kelly is on the round? He has never faced the Guardians in his whole career. He's faced every team in both leagues except for the Guardians. And the Guardians, they're like trying to get the wild card themselves. So, and this is the first time these two teams have faced each other. So it's going to be interesting. And yesterday, Jack Leiter, 7 scoreless innings, 10 strikeouts, 10-0 final score. Adolis had he's back. He had a 2-run homer.
Dolis had a home run.
Josh Young had a home run.
Much needed time off. So hopefully, but let's not bury the lead. Cody Freeman hit his major league first ever home run. Had him. Maybe that's the missing piece. Maybe that's the spark this team needed, because we can all agree this team needs a spark in some form or fashion. All right, because again, right now, Simeon's ailing. Jake Berger's on the DL, on the IL once again. So you need some. Evan Carter's out for the rest of the season with the broken wrist. So you need something in the form of a spark, and seeing a Cody Freeman do that would be phenomenal.
And they got to do it against who the Cleveland Guardians call their stopper. Gavin Williams on the mound. We'll see if they do it.
Stopper or no stopper, I got the Rangers winning today 6-3. I got them going with the sweep because why? The Rangers are a whole lot more fun to cover when they're winning games and they're in the playoff hunt. 5 games out of the playoff lead right now? Courtesy of Blake Elliott, who said he woke up this morning, turned on the fan, and the first thing he heard was Trevor needs to be on Black People Meet.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
all right, I'm going to start downloading.
There you go. It's time. All right, I say 6-3 Rangers. I am going to go with the hot hand. Langford hits another home run. Okay? That's my home run pick. CA?
I'm going to say 4-2 Rangers.
Okay.
And I'm going to say Josh Young does it again.
I love it. Okay, home run for Josh Young. That'd be huge. Trevor?
I'm going to say 7-5 Rangers.
Love it. We're all
I think our offense
in cahoots.
Is up in here. But I think Jock Peterson's been really hot in August. He's got an over 800 OPS right now. And so I need me some more Jock Peterson love and him to help us carry to the playoffs, maybe.
That's it. All right, so to recap here, your boy Freddie D, 6'3" Rangers, CA 4'2" Rangers, and Trevor Beck, a.k.a. Mr. Good News himself, 7'5". He's got Peterson hitting a home run, you've got Josh Young hitting a home run, and I am continuing with the hot hand, and I've got Mr. Wyatt Langford. Give me one surprise cut on Tuesday.
Cowboy surprise cut?
Yeah.
Mozzie. I'm not going to put my mortgage on it, but
I'm with you on that.
That would be a surprise cut.
It would because and it's surprising in the sense that the Cowboys kind of bucking what they've done trend wise, because if they spend first round pick on a guy, they'll kind of ride it out until the cows come home, and this one would be a little bit different story. Maybe they are trying to do things differently. We'll see about that. Trevor, surprise cut on Tuesday would be?
Is Asim a surprise cut? Would that be surprising?
Who?
Asim Richards.
The offensive line.
I don't think it would be surprised, but I like where your head's at, though.
I just think if
maybe
you're
a little bit. You know what? Yes, if you said good news for you, not good news for Awesome Richards.
Yeah, because I just feel like if you're going to go with Collins, you brought him in for a reason, and I think the veteran presence he's going to bring, you'd probably want it. Because
what about you, Fred?
I appreciate you asking. Miles Sanders.
I wish they would do that.
Miles Sanders. That's why I said a surprise.
I think he'd get a job somewhere else. So
no. Look, and that's why
unclutter that room.
That's why you keep a Phil Maffa, because Phil Maffa, I feel like, would get snatched up by somebody else because he's got the size and the power that you're looking for, and he can play special teams, but I like that as well. So I'm going with Miles Sanders as my surprise pick. Mozzie, which, like I said, I'm with you. I could see him staying, though, too, just because of the depth factor as well. I'll tell you what, great stuff from Kyle Youmans today. Great stuff from all you Tolos and fatties out there. For the one, the only, Trevor, for CA, I'm Fred. Good night. God bless. Go Rangers.
When your friends say, "Hey, did you hear?" you can proudly say, "I heard it on the Fan," keeping you sports informed with some quality laughs along the way. Turn it on and leave it on. 105.3 The Fan, the Odyssey app, iHeartRadio app, and TuneIn app.
Have you ever had an aha moment? That feeling when you finally try something new and wonder why you waited so long? Here's yours. 20% of car loans are now 84 months. That's 7 years of high payments and likely ending upside down when you go to trade in. D&M Leasing can help you skip the long terms with smarter, lower monthly payments. Join over 50...